A2HH live on a Wednesday. Coop, what's going on? How you doing?
Go Braves.
Go Braves, man. Shout out to the Atlanta Braves bringing the championship back to the A like it's supposed to be, man. I think this is the beginning of some winning, just winning culture. You know what I'm saying? I really think that the Atlanta Hawks are probably going to be really, really influenced by this. They're a young team. They made it very far last year, and it's good to see some winning going on in the city. The United did it, and yeah, um, congratulations to the Atlanta Braves and the whole city, man. I'm really excited. I
Oh yeah.
was like counting down the outs and everything, man. Those home runs last night that put the Braves over the top was just some great baseball, man. Great lineup.
We were without our best player this year, who was probably the front runner for MVP when he went down August 11th,
Yep,
I believe, or something, somewhat like that. I'm sorry, not August 11th, but
it was way earlier. Yeah,
yeah, but 88 win team winning the World Series. Mike, people think that like the pain of like the major sports teams like not winning championships is real. This was the longest gap of championships between any city currently that had three major sports teams, as in an NBA team, NFL team, a Major League Baseball team. The gap between this championship and the one that we won in '95 by the same exact team, it was the longest drought that any other city that has three teams has had. So the suffering's been real.
you know what? I didn't realize that, man. Wow, I guess because the Cubs, well, no, that doesn't even count because Chicago got the Bulls. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, shout out to the Braves, man,
I'll
and
be parade on Friday, Mike. And if you have to work on Friday,
yeah, man. Shit,
these
man. I'm trying to make arrangements to the parade too, man. We'll make it happen.
people, if you have to work on Friday, boss, you need to look at your boss and you just need to say ATL, ho.
Yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, we're gonna get in. Well, first off, congratulations to them. Today, we're gonna get into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and everything that happened this past weekend with that. LL Cool J was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after 6 nominations, finally getting in. Congratulations to him. And Jay-Z also was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, on his first time out of eligibility. Today we're going to talk about that ceremony, how everything went, speeches, things that were said, the influences, and, try to give some predictions on who might be in the hall next. So, first off, man, did you watch the ceremony? Did you see LL's speech and Dr. Dre inducting him in, and Jay-Z's speech and Dave Chappelle inducting him in? What were your thoughts?
Not in one full sitting, but in bits and pieces.
Okay.
My sentiments actually, I think it's one of those rare moments where I think our sentiments kind of echo each other. I felt like the relationship with Dr. Dre and LL Cool J is really organic. You can definitely see some parallels in terms of length in the game, lifestyle, longevity, career accomplishments, just iconic hit making machines that they are, but also appear to have some sort of real bond and friendship. The Dave Chappelle thing kind of threw me for a loop, just like it kind of threw you for a loop.
Yeah.
It did make me think, though, Mike, that maybe this is Jay, the pro-black, kind of proactive activist part of Jay, that sees the fire that Dave Chappelle is under and is kind of like, no, like, y'all can't cancel this guy. This guy is worthy of bringing me out.
Well, I think the whole quote unquote Dave Chappelle being canceled is propaganda anyway. But that's just my opinion. Ain't nobody canceling him. They're not.
You talking this Illuminati shit on the midday?
I'm just saying it's media overblown. I haven't seen anybody What happened to the baby is getting canceled. That's what happened when you got all of your establishments sitting there not booking you for venues and shit like that. That's canceled. Not random tweets from random motherfuckers. Excuse me. Let me watch my language. Not just random tweets from random people who are giving their opinions. When you're really getting canceled, we've seen that. We've seen it live and in living color. You had festival after festival after festival in consecutive order canceling the baby from his paid appearances. None of that stuff was happening to Dave. Dave was still able to go to venues. do his stuff. Netflix is, in bed with him. They got a contract with him. So, they stood by him. They got $60 million in him. It's fine. I mean, but, it's a difference between really getting quote unquote canceled and people just talking. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the whole Dave thing is kind of blown out of proportion in the fact that I'm going to stand with Dave through this cancellation. He wasn't getting canceled.
No, Mike, you want to know what you're saying some strong stuff, but you're saying some very correct stuff, and I understand what you're saying. I think my underlying theme is I think there is some solidarity trying to be shown factor in play in bringing Dave Chappelle out, if that makes more sense.
I feel that, but I also feel that, it's once again what Jay has done in his career. He's attaching to something that's hot. We're talking about Dave now.
No, Mike, it's multifaceted and layered, so you're not wrong about any. We can both be right about all the things that we're saying right now.
Oh, yeah, it was the perfect pick, actually, if you consider those things. Because I'm sitting here thinking, like, even though I don't know any real connection between Dave and Jay like that, first of all, let me say, Dave did an incredible job in the introduction. He did a great job just basically summing up and tying everything together, what Jay-Z means to hip-hop, means to the culture, and what he continues to mean to the culture, and why he is important, and why he is important to black culture in general. And Jay did a great job, too, during his speech. But I found myself thinking, though, with everything that Jay encompasses, who would I wanted to actually introduce him? And I couldn't really think of anybody but maybe Dame, or maybe Leo Cohen. But the fact that Jay has kind of switched up his path and his partners throughout his time, it's really tough for me to even correlate his whole career with one person. You know what I mean? Like how we could correlate LL's career with like a Russell Simmons or a Rick Rubin. You know what I mean? But who's that for Jay other than Dame? So if Dame wasn't going to be the person to do it, I couldn't think of who would actually introduce or who would induct, Jay-Z into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, who would you think?
No, so like we oftentimes do, let's kind of just like backtrack to why we even found the Dave Chappelle pick fascinating. And it goes to something insightful that you said when we were speaking behind the scenes, which was like when Dave was originally popping on the Chappelle show, Jay wasn't one of the dudes that was fucking with Dave like that. He wasn't making that style of rap that Dave was like, projecting via the show in terms of the Roots, Talib, Most Def,
Kanye West even.
And Kanye West probably most notably, as you pointed out. And so, when we were talking, you brought up Leor and Dame when you were talking to me, and I immediately told you, I was like, it doesn't even make sense for it to be anybody other than Dame if you really look at it, which is why all of what's going on between them is really problematic when you look at it, because like Dame is supposed to be the guy that did it, but it kind of shows you where Jay is too, because that's what I mean. There's so much potential business and politics involved now just because of currently what's going on and because of who Dave is in doing that. And you're right when you say that. Well, that's typical Jay to play and to feed into all of that because it's trending and it's popping and it's current. And, and like I said, but also too, Mike, it could also be a show of solidarity between two very powerful and prominent black men.
I mean, it made sense. I mean, all the way down to, them having Obama go out there before Dave. Did you see that part?
I saw, like I said, I saw kind of everything in like spurts and breaks.
Yeah, because it's out there in pieces, you know what I mean? Because they don't have like the whole ceremony. I think they streamed it live, but yeah, it's not like the whole ceremony's out there. But yeah, even Obama starting it out and then going into Dave. And you know what? I was talking to a friend of mine today, my boy Brandon, man. What's up, Brand? But he brought up something that made a lot of sense when we were talking about it and talking about Jay's speech. He said, Jay might be getting some speech tips from Obama. And then when he said that jokingly, Jay's speech sounded very Obama-like from the jokes in there. It did. You know what I mean? He hit every point in there, too. When he mentioned KRS, he mentioned Kane, he mentioned Rakim, he mentioned Chuck D. So it was like all the individual facets. It was a perfect speech, actually. I got to give it to him.
Definitely great soapbox speech, Mike. When you look at it, I was about to say, if Brandon told you that's something right there. Because actually, Mike, when I thought about it, and this was actually something, I mean, so we can segue. My overall take of Jay's speech was like, I don't think he's ever spoken better publicly than that before.
Never. I agree. It was awesome.
His speech. It was the best I had ever heard him speak in the entirety of the time, Mike, that I've seen his interviews. And I want to say this. He's a very intelligent and articulate and charismatic guy, so that's saying a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And he hit every point. And like I said, the jokes were in place. I mean, and I guess because, we saw Obama speak right before him, and it was in that same cadence where it's like, I'm going to say something serious, then I'm going to say something lighthearted. Then I'm going to get back serious again, then we'll delve into the lightheartedness. Even when he said that thing about, him out there spitting on the block and thinking he was the greatest, and he was like, one of the greatest. I don't want no problems, LL. Like, that's so Obama.
So
so Obama.
No, you're right. It is. So I'm going to go to something right quick. And this is one of the things that I've kind of knocked Jay for. It's like I kind of enjoyed Obama's speech a little bit more because Obama has a better voice.
Well, he's one of the best speakers of all time. So,
yeah, he's a top 5 dead or alive speaker.
He's probably the best speaker of this time. So, yeah, I mean, to be behind that's not,
He's the best orator of words of this generation, clearly, and definitely the most charismatic, him and Bill Clinton as far as in the last 50 years in terms of the charisma matched with the actual public speaking ability and command of words. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Jay's interview, Spliff Spark says Jay interviews have always been fire, and they have.
That's why I'm saying it's like, no, what we're saying is a lot. He usually gives you a great and insightful and intelligent and articulate interview, and he's a very good speaker. This was like great.
You know what I like about Jay, and I want to give him props on this too. He's always been very, very insightful about his own legacy and his own catalog. He speaks about his catalog like you and I are talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like when he talked about Reasonable Doubt and where he was there and what he said about Volume 1. When I heard him talk about Volume 1, it made me think about you. Where he said, it was half and half. Some of my best stuff and some of what I was figuring it out. And he's very honest when it comes to that. That's why I love when he ranks his albums. I think his ranking, the last time I heard him rank his albums, he said Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, Black Album. And I agree with that wholeheartedly.
He's ahead, Mike.
He's one of the few people, and I think it's because he's such a hustler and a businessman, he's able to step outside of the artistry and say, you know what, let me look at this like this is my artist.
I think that's the head in him more than that's the businessman in him. He's ahead, Mike.
He definitely is.
Like he loves hip hop and loves rap and loves these combos about it the way you and I do. He does.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why I love Volume 1. For me, Volume 1 is not. How about this? Reasonable Doubt is Jay the hustler that's emceeing to you about his hustling ass ways in life. Volume 1 is the MC.
But Volume 1 is also him trying to make that jump almost too quickly, right? He's trying to make that jump that he ended up making without really doing the education on how that's going to fit him.
But what I'm saying is who he is on that album is the rapper who doesn't have to hustle anymore. So therefore, rap is becoming his hustle. So he's figuring it out. But the rapper on there is 97 Hov, Mike.
The fact that he said that's some of his best work.
Because it is, Mike.
It lets you know how highly he thinks of songs like 1,000,001, Imaginary Player, Where I'm From, and The Streets Is Watching. Because those are the songs he's talking about.
No, Mike, I think...
You Must Love Me probably too.
Mike, if I was ranking it, 5 of his 20 best songs are on that album, and that album's uneven. But 5 of his 20 best songs are on there.
I disagree with you on that because I know you're super high on Volume 1. I even saw that and the reason why I thought of you when, he said Volume 1's because you had a lot of Volume 1 on your list when I had, we were going up against LL Cool J.
That's his rap shit, Mike. That's what I keep trying to say. That's Jay on some rap shit. When he's on some rap, how about this? the MC that he shows himself to be when he's on his rap shit on that album, oh, that's the guy that I do think like raps with Biggie and Nas and Rakim and is right there. That's the guy that makes me believe all of that. Like that's the guy.
Well, let me be clear. I think that at that time, while Biggie was alive, because for part of Volume 1, I think Biggie was alive, right? Yeah. I don't know. Give or take. Depending on when he was creating, right? I think Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, J, lyrically, was ahead of Big. Now, not as an all-around artist, per se, at that time. But lyrically, I think he was slightly ahead of Big. Not by much, though.
I get what you're saying. But it's just, you want to know what the tough thing about it is, like, Big at the top of his game, and I consider Big lyrically to be at the top of his game pretty much from the time I heard him on that Get Money remix till the point he died.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but Big encompasses so many things in addition to being a comparable lyricist. You get what I'm saying? So it's hard, even when you're hearing it, to give Jay that edge, but I understand exactly what you're saying because I find Reasonable Doubt to be more lyrically inclined than Ready to Die. Like, there isn't any, like, looking back when we first learned to use rubbers, he didn't learn. So in return, I'm kidnapping his baby's mother. Like, no, Ready to Die doesn't have that.
I mean, he's just lyrically ahead of that. But again, that's 2 years after Ready to Die, too, if we want to be fair and in context. I do think that, do you think Ready to Die is a better album than Reasonable Doubt?
The songs are greater.
I think so.
The songs are greater.
I think so. I mean, I think when you could, and unfortunately, the One More Chance remix isn't actually on Ready to Die, so I can't really count that. But even if we're counting Juicy, Big Papa, and Warren and all being on the same record, I think that kind of, and obviously everything else is on there.
Right.
I think that kind of pushes it past a Reasonable Doubt. But I do think the lyricist on Reasonable Doubt is, like you said, more advanced than the lyricist that's on Ready to Die.
I mean, how about this? The Evils is the only track that I hear on Reasonable Doubt that's all-time great that could take something all-time great off of Ready to Die. Not the other way around. Like, Ready to Die got plenty of all-time great shit. If you were, like, to pair the songs up, it's like, oh, well, what would you rather have, Juicy or Ain't No Nigga? It's like, okay, we're done here. Big Papa or Feeling It? Okay, we're done here. You get what I'm saying?
Right. It's a lot of things to take away from this Hall of Fame.
Look, hold on, Mike. Unbelievable or Friend or Foe, the Primo tracks. Unbelievable or Friend or Foe. Oh, we're done.
Unbelievable's better.
Oh, we're done here. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not the other way around.
No, I got you.
So the albums are comparable.
There's a lot of places we can go, but I want to go ahead and ask you this while we're kind of on this Jay thing. What did you think about his apology? Well, no, I won't say apology. Excuse me. Him basically giving Dame Dash a shout out.
I think it's very problematic.
I think it's a lot of layers there. Yeah.
There's lawsuits going on.
It's current lawsuits, yeah.
It's a bunch of bullshit, Mike. Don't nobody want to see y'all do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that,
in that matter, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. In that matter, I need the head in him to come out and not the businessman and squash that with him. Like there ain't no amount of money or power or control that's worth what's going on.
Well, you know what I don't like? I don't like the fact that the media is taking this, and since Jay said something positive, they're considering that an olive branch out to Dame. Dame has been saying, I have nothing against this guy, whatever. Let's settle this, man to man. I mean, he just said that a couple of weeks ago, that what we're doing, this is corny. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the olive branch, really.
Right. When a grown man says, yo, I'm from the street, this is corny to me, that's the real olive branch. Just saying, dude, like this ain't even worth the flex. Like,
and he said, a younger generation doesn't need to see us going back and forth through lawyers. And Dame said that, so
that's the olive branch.
Yeah, and I think from there, I think just in my mind, things should have been dropped, and I think that Dame probably should have been the person to maybe if he didn't want him to induct him. He should have been invited, you know what I'm saying? Something like that, if it was like that.
Well, you got to drop these lawsuits and all that paperwork in order for that to happen, Mike.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I just don't like how it's being covered. The fact that okay, now that Jay said this, then they are reconciled. Like that's not the thing.
So hip hop is made of moments.
Right.
What's going on between them on the legality side of things prevented what could have been like a historic coming together moment for them and for hip hop. That's why I'm saying the Head and Jay need to come out. Like y'all just missed a really, really big moment by not having the opportunity to do that.
Spliff Spark says that Dame himself took that as an olive branch. Well, I mean, that's again, this was all in print. I didn't see what Dame said. Like I just saw that Page 6 reported it that way. But maybe he was playing out like, look, if y'all want to consider that an olive branch, then fine. Then I'll just be the bigger person and just, extend it even further. Now your move, drop these lawsuits and let's handle this man to man.
Right. What Dame really saying is like, yo, that nigga can get my number and call me. He can get my number. He can get anybody's number and call him. Like, you can get that number and call me. Like,
Jay-Z can get my number and call me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can get anybody's number he wants.
We're obviously not going to make it to the Rock Nation brunch at any point. If he wanted to, he could just, like, come and jump in on the feed of the show, probably. What the fuck we talking about?
Most definitely, man. Yeah, Dame is a real one. Junior Sexman says Dame's a real one. But, yeah, I do like the fact, though, all that aside, that Jay acknowledged everybody that was involved in his growth. Obviously certain people are left out, like Original Flavor, maybe Ski Beats and things like that. But that's just being very.
I brought up Ski Beats.
Did he? Okay. Did he?
I think he did.
Okay, good.
I feel like he did. I think
he was. Like I said, this was a very loaded induction speech, and he did a great job. You can tell this was very, very important to him. And that was another thing that was kind of blaring too, because Jay really, really took this serious.
So can we segue, Mike?
Go ahead.
Why the hell don't he take the stuff coming out of our community as serious?
Because what do you mean specifically?
As far as our award shows and honors and ceremonies and events, why doesn't he invest into? Because his credibility is as such that him showing up and being viable in it lends it more credibility.
You mean like award shows?
I mean, specifically, since this is an award being given to him, yes.
Well, award shows, I will say this. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the qualifications, you got to be in the industry 25 years since your debut album. They put you in a hall and pretty much immortalize you. I had the pleasure of visiting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this past summer. And so you get like your own section and all of that stuff. So it's a little different than an award show. But I will say this. There is a Hip Hop Hall of Fame that is being, launched, I want to say next year. It's 2 of them in New York. I've been in close contact with one of them. And it's a Hip Hop Hall of Fame and Museum. And they're going to have an induction ceremony and all of that. So we'll see if Jay-Z shows up to those in that way. I know when VH1 was doing Hip Hop Honors, I think people like him and Nas kind of stayed away from being honored because at that point it kind of means that you're done. So to stay relevant, they kind of stayed away from, being honored in that facet.
Both don't want to admit that they're done.
And that's another thing that I got from Jay-Z's speech. And I don't want to, segue back, but he looked invigorated. Like, I felt like, I know I said last week that I didn't want to hear a new Jay-Z album. He changed my mind. He changed my mind. He seemed very...
See?
Yeah. He have you seen he got an Instagram account now? You seen that?
No, Mike. Y'all just got hustled.
I mean, of course we got hustled. I mean, he learned from the best. It was an Obama-written speech. Of course I got hustled.
Mike, I can't be hustled with a speech. What them bars sounded like this year? He obviously sounds invigorated and wanting to record because he's been recording. What them bars sound like?
I mean, I want to hear him by himself. I didn't like the stuff that was put out on that soundtrack. Whatever.
I'm impressed by the speech and still not impressed by the verse work that I've heard this year. And so those are 2 separate things to me. No more excited.
Tribero says the Hip Hop Museum opens in 2023. Thank you for correcting me. Yes, so 2023, but we'll see. We'll see how important all of our legends make this hip hop museum. I know that Nas has been really involved in one.
That was my next question. I was
Nas and LL have been very involved in one. So, you know. But I will say this though, man. Like I said, Jay done got him an Instagram account now. You seen that? Like he done got him a verified Instagram account. I think we're gonna get some new Jay-Z music.
Oh my god. He got an IG account.
You thinking I'm being hustled? Is that what it is?
No, Mike, it's not just you. There are people out there that are feeling like you, and all of y'all are being hustled. You're not alone. This is what he does. He's good.
Yeah, man. That was a very impressive speech, Jay-Z. I will give it to you. I said I didn't want to hear a new album. I think I might want to hear a new album. I'm interested. I'm interested to see where it's going to go. I think that...
It's problematic that you just skipped over all that verse work for that impressive ass speech.
No, because my biggest problem, and I think I said this last show, I didn't know what the direction would be for a new Jay-Z album. I think the direction here, that speech kind of let me know where, like, kind of like a real In My Lifetime thing, where he kind of wraps up his career.
He running for office?
I could see that too. I could see that. I don't know, man. Like I'm interested. I'm interested now.
I just want to know what it got to do with this rap shit.
Yeah, I'm interested now. But he was able to get himself, I don't want to say get himself recognized. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was able to recognize him on his first year of eligibility, where it took LL Cool J 6 nominations, because he's been eligible for 11 years now. Why do you think that is?
I think that was the most fascinating outtake about, both of the inductions, was, so what is the gap between LL's songwriting in hits and records and catalog, and the gap between Jay's that make you think, and not saying that Jay isn't deserving of being a first-time honoree, but what makes you think LL isn't a first, or at worst case, Mike, at worst case, second time honoree? Like, worst case for me is that L gets in second time around. Like,
it appears, not to interrupt you, but it appears that to save face, they knew they were going to put Jay in there first time around, but they couldn't put Jay in there without putting LL Cool J in, so they put them both in at the same time. That's what it looks like. I don't know if that's what it was. That's what it looks like. And if that's the case, that's a shame, because LL deserved to be in there. Honestly, I would say around the time the Beastie Boys got in there, or before the Beastie Boys, I would put LL in there before the Beastie Boys, and then the Beastie Boys, and then it was Public Enemy, right? And then it was NWA. I think, somebody correct us in the chat if we're wrong, but I think that it was either Public Enemy, then Beastie Boys, or Beastie Boys, then Public Enemy. Either way, I think LL has to go in like right after Run DMC. And I don't understand why he wasn't acknowledged in that way. Maybe his longevity, maybe the fact that, he means other things outside of music when it comes to his acting career, his overall entertainment career. Maybe that's why he was slept on, because Janet Jackson didn't get in first ballot either. And I don't understand that either. I don't get it.
Okay, so LL not getting in the first or second time is a problem. Sixth time is a damn shame. Janet not getting in the first time is just some fuckery. I don't know what the hell is going on, or what people are thinking. Like, because you can go touch that on every level, and that's iconic. But that's neither here nor there. As far as LL is concerned, though, Mike, I mean, and it seems like this is the thing that we've really been covering lately in the past month or so here at According to Hip Hop is that, like, I'm starting to feel a certain type of way, like we haven't valued LL enough, and we have something to do with it taking him so long to get in here, because I'm gonna pull my own card on this one, Mike. when you told me that he had been nominated this many times, not only what I was floored, but as a head, I was ashamed that I didn't know that. We should have been pushing for L more. You feel
Well,
me?
you know what? I mean, not to pat my own self on the back.
You have. I
When
got
Tupac got
for you.
inducted
I already
first,
knew you were going there.
yeah.
Yep.
When
Yeah.
Tupac got inducted as the first solo artist, you
Been
know,
saying that.
it kind of you know, opened up a light in my brain. Like, you know what? Why is this happening and LL's not getting this acknowledgement? And I did. At that point, that's when I started realizing how many times the LL, excuse me, had been nominated before. So I wrote an article basically saying that, you know, LL should be the first hip hop solo act inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and not Tupac. And that was nothing, you know, against Tupac. It's just we can't skip steps here. You know what I mean? And it's interesting that this is the thing. And I think this is the interesting thing about LL's career. For whatever reason, artistically, he's not being valued. And that's what it is. And like artistically, I think that, you know, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, they got in because of the innovation with Grandmaster Flash and the, you know, the scratching of the turntables, all of those things. Obviously, the impact of the message, well deserved. Pioneers, people on the ground floor of hip hop, you get that. Same thing with Run DMC. I think they admired the artistry of what they brought to the game, taking hip hop from the streets to that next level on the mainstream level. You know, tougher than leather, yada yada, boom. I think the innovation of the Beastie Boys they respected. The innovation of Public Enemy, NWA. But for whatever reason, they didn't seemingly respect the artistic nature of what LL brought to the table as an artist. And that's the only thing I could think of because I feel like, and that's why I mentioned Janet Jackson. I think because she's a pop star, they feel like there's a certain level of artistry that is not comprised in that, and you don't get that consideration.
So I'm going to tell you something, and this is actually something that I've been emanating on this show for a while, which is that it's hard to write a rap song. Writing rhymes, lyrics, because of how our format and structure is made from a beat machine in 16-bar format, the compression of words into that format for 3/16s or 2/24s with a 4-bar hook doubled up or a full 8-bar hook or a 4-bar hook with a bridge. You like any way you want to do the math, Mike, it's hard to do. Writing a rap song is hard to do. And actually what LL does best is one of the things that gets understated most in hip hop. And I think he's just not being recognized creatively because people don't understand how hard it truly is to write these legendary, iconic hits that he's written. It goes understating because the craft of hip hop songwriting gets understated, and he might be our best songwriter.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you count, you know, what time period he comes from.
Right. So it speaks to the craft being docked and thereby him being docked. Because I think all the time because it's like people look at rap like no, that shit's hard.
I think again though, I think us as hip hop connoisseurs, followers, listeners, you know, journalists, fans, we don't appreciate LL Cool J. I think LL Cool J might be the most underappreciated hip hop artist that there is. When you factor in everything that he's done, what period he comes from, as long as he's been able to sustain the hits that he has in different eras, and the fact that he even came up with the term GOAT, and we laughed at it. You remember that when that happened in 99, 2000?
People was looking at him like he
was... Yeah, and it's like, no, it's well deserved, because the media had continuously told us that, you know, Biggie and Tupac were the greatest ever, right? And when LL jumps out of it, like, look, I've done way more than what these guys have done. I'm still here. I'm still doing it. I'm the greatest of all time. And owning that, it's like we brush that off. And the fact that people brush that off and don't even know that he is the creator of the term GOAT, Let you know how underappreciated this man is. And I think that him being nominated 6 times and not getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is indicative of that. And the fact that Jay-Z went up there first time around, as he should, gets in there, they let you know how underappreciated the LL Cool J is. And it's unfortunate.
So that's what I mean is like, and here's where the thing where I've even said as somebody who loves hip hop, you know, and actually journalistically and connoisseur wise, you know, it's almost being disrespectful to him at this point. It's not even under appreciation. And it's like, so we kind of need to like check ourselves. Like we, you know, that's why I said, no, I'll pull my card first, because I started feeling like, hey, we need to be talking about this.
Well, when you say, you know, and some people in the chat are saying some things that they don't think that LL is the best songwriter. When you say songwriter, are you talking about hit records? Or, you know, we're talking about, put that in context. When you say LL Cool J is the best songwriter in hip hop, put that in context.
I said arguably.
Arguably. Okay.
Because what I'm saying is that if you can name somebody else, Mike, who over a span of, I would say, 3 separate eras made big hit records in those eras, and then you can go to those albums and hear fully fleshed out songs. That's what I mean, is that he's a songwriter. Like when you go listen to a LL Cool J album, you don't get a track with one verse of him spitting for a minute and 30 seconds and then the song is over. Now, do you?
No, you're right. You
get verse, hook, verse, all the way down the line. And so when you look at how many times he has hit his mark with the level of songs that he has made, because Mike, and I said this before, it's like, no, Jay-Z doesn't have more iconic hits than LL. We gonna have to get Biggie and Tupac out just to compete with this dude on that.
Shamario Patterson says, what do you mean as Jay should? I'm sorry, but LL should have been there way before Jay. I agree with that. But I do think that Jay-Z should have been first ballot too.
Yeah, Jay's first ballot, and so is L. That's what we're saying. We're saying they both should be first ballot. So L should have gotten in before.
This is the thing, though. If Jay didn't get in their first ballot, we would have all made a fuss about it. What we should have made a fuss about the fact that LL didn't get in the first time.
Right, Mike.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. So some of this, not all of it, but some of this is our fault. We ain't been pushing for L enough. We haven't been giving him his just due. Although we look upon him as a legend, and although he's respected, we're not giving him enough.
Yeah, because, I mean, when Tupac got in there before him, and I caught a lot of flack for that. When Tupac got in there before him, I made a fuss about the fact that LL wasn't inducted. I want to say maybe the year before that. Because I want to say it was NWA getting in before him that really got my antennas up about this. Like, wait a minute, we're skipping some things.
Mike,
yeah.
I'm certain that I argued with you on your post about the Tupac thing in favor of Tupac, of course. I'm pretty certain you argued on social media about that when you posted that, because you've been saying this for a very long time on a personal level.
Yeah. I'm glad he's finally gotten in, but I still think that, you know, at this point, I don't want to say underrated, because underrated I don't think fits LL Cool J, but he's definitely the most underappreciated hip-hop artist ever.
How about this? He's the most underappreciated of all the legends, because he's still legendary. It's not even a conversation about that.
I mean, we even had the conversation the other week, the fact that KRS-One didn't even mention LL's name when they were on the Versus stage.
And so, Mike...
And that was odd.
And then it makes me think, like, well, are his peers disrespecting him a little bit? Because then I saw the Slick Rick Kane and Rakim photo, and I'm thinking, like, where's L?
Well, you know, they're on tour together. So, I mean, L's always been in a different stratosphere. He's slightly younger than them, too, right?
And I only say that and got there before them.
Yeah.
And I only say that because L, literally, when he promotes Rock the Bells, he brings up how he wants Rakim and KRS-One and Kane and Chuck B and Ice Cube looked at the way that Lennon and Bowie and McCartney, like in all these other white legends in alternative and rock fields are looked at. You know what I'm saying? The way Ozzy's looked at. You know what I'm saying? Like, like he wants that for those artists, and it just kind of seems like also too, not only are we doing him a disservice, it almost seems like some of his legendary peers may not be wanting that for him the way he wants it for them. I find that to be problematic.
I think that, at this point in hip hop being so competitive, and obviously New York's just a competitive city, period. You got to compete just to live up there. And I think a lot of those guys have that mentality ingratiated in their mind, which kind of prohibits them from actually working together, even at this stage in their careers. You know what I mean?
Think about it. They're on tour together. Why are we not getting records with these guys?
I mean, because they probably just do their shows and go their separate ways. You know what I'm saying? Go home or whatever. Go back to their families. But
No,
I
and
mean, LL's the perfect ambassador for that, and I love the fact that LL's doing this Rock the Bells in the way that he's doing it. He even shouted out Kumo D in his speech, and shouted out Treacherous 3, Cannabis, and people that continuously push them. Like, Cannabis got a mention in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame speech. It's LL's clearly humble, and he's a very humble individual, being as big and as grand as he is and everything that he means to the culture, but we still need to appreciate him more. I've always said that maybe we need a LL Cool J biopic for people to get it. You know what I'm saying?
He's almost been too good for his own good. I remember when he made the cover of Vibe magazine with his wife and his family, and he was even talking in the article. He's like, I'm probably the only rapper that like still has like a Honda Accord that like I drive. Like I remember him saying that. So the humility's like always been there. Like he was a legend then, Mike. I was, I remember L from when I was a kid. LL was a legend when I was a kid. He was a teenager.
LL's been a legend since like what, 1990 or something?
Right. I mean, Mike, yeah, he's been a legend since I've been a kid. Like he's been Uncle L almost like my whole life. So it's like, we just need to start saying his name more, like we do.
Well, obviously, Jay had his first year of eligibility. Nas came out in 94. Biggie got inducted his first year of eligibility. Same thing as Tupac. Nas didn't get inducted his first year of eligibility. Outkast came out in 94. They haven't been nominated either. Nas hasn't been nominated, excuse me. So that kind of goes to where I want to go next. Who do you think will be the next group or solo acts that are inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame from the hip hop genre?
All signs point to Wu-Tang Clan, all things being considered. The W.
I'm with you. I think as a group, it'll be the Wu-Tang. I don't think they've been nominated yet, even though they came out in 93. I would like to see Tribe get in there first, but it's probably going to be Wu if we're talking about a group. I know they love doing groups. I could see Wu and Tribe getting in there at the same time, maybe, but definitely Wu-Tang. And as far as solo acts, who do you think's going to be coming next?
I told you, Mike. I mean, you and I talked about it yesterday. I was like, they're probably going to get Nas and Eminem in at the same time as soon as Eminem becomes eligible, which will be in a couple of years.
Yeah, Eminem would be eligible. He came out technically in 99?
Yeah, so he'll be eligible.
He'll be eligible in 2024.
Yeah.
I could see them doing what they did with this LL and Jay-Z thing with Nas and Eminem. Yeah. They may just let Nas and Eminem in at the same time so there won't be any backlash for Eminem getting in there and there not being a Rakim or KRS or whatever. I love the fact, though, and I don't want to go back to Jay's speech, but I love the fact that he really harped on KRS-One, Kane. He said all great things about him, like Rakim. I've never heard him big up those pioneers that, made him. Because, Jay's the God MC. He made himself, right?
I think because he thinks that he's past them, though, so he can speak in those terms, in those regards now.
Well, I mean, he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This is another thing to brag about.
Okay, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I was going to get back to the Nas and Eminem thing, but go ahead.
No, that's where I was kind of going to go with it, too. And here's where I am going to give Jay some flowers. As much as I'm giving LL his props, I do not think that he is better than Jay in the all-time greatest MC conversation. However, Mike, and this is where it is potentially problematic if they do this again with Nas and Eminem. It's not a conversation for almost anybody who the superior MC and catalog of the two is, and so it's going to be some shit if they do that. I personally am going to see to that.
Well, I want to see what people in the chat say. Tribero says Eminem deserves it too. Terminator 2 says no, Eminem doesn't deserve it. Who do you guys think is going to be the next solo act actually inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame from hip hop? I mean, I think it's going to be Eminem. Do I think Eminem deserves it? I mean, I think when you talk about impact, culture shifting, how could he not? I mean, it is what it is. How could he not? Eminem's a game changer. I don't think Eminem is as great as people say he is.
There we go. I was just waiting for it. I knew it was coming.
I just want to clarify. I want to clarify.
That's right.
I just want to clarify. I don't want people to think that I done, got soft on this issue or whatnot. But I don't think Eminem is as great as they say he is. But his impact is there. And the only reason why I kind of pause on that, because one thing I will say about Eminem's catalog, do you feel like any of Eminem's albums changed anything in hip hop?
No, I don't.
Do you think any Eminem songs came out where niggas was like, yo, I got to make something like that. I got to make something like Stan. I got to do something. Like, if there is one, it would be Stan. But I didn't even see that shift anything. Now, when somebody like 50 Cent drops Get Rich or Die Trying, that's a game changer. Right? That's a game changer. And we've seen game changers. We've seen Illmatic come through, be a game changer. We've seen Doggy Style come through, be a game changer. Shit, we seen, what Biggie did, game changing.
A couple times.
Jay's done it. You know what I'm saying? When the Blueprint came, everybody had the sped up soul sample shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kanye changed the game. Like him or not. You know what I'm saying? Kanye changed the game a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't sit here and say when the Marshall Mathers LP dropped, others in hip hop were like, yo, I got to do something like The Way I Am. Or I got to do something like The Real Slim Shady. So that's why I kind of pause when it comes to impact. But his impact is more so, let's just keep it real. His impact is that he gave white guys the courage to go out there and rap. Right?
Yeah.
Split Spark says that the Marshall Mathers LP was a game changer. How so, sir? Please let me know how the Marshall Mathers LP, what seeds do you see from the Marshall Mathers LP? What albums that came after that do you sit there and say, like, yo, that was really influenced by the Marshall Mathers LP?
I don't know why y'all got Mike started. I don't know why y'all got him started. I've been having
I just want to clear this up. You know what I'm saying?
Clear it up, Mike. I don't even know why y'all did this. See, the people are starting to piss me off because they're letting me know they haven't been watching the show and how many times I've been having this motherfucking conversation.
I mean, we can have the conversation again, But again,
most of why y'all have this conversation.
I think his impact is based on the fact that he gave young white rappers the courage to get on the mic. Is that his impact? Like, I think that's why 8 Mile is so big and etched in everyone's brain. Like, B-Rabbit's a real person.
Possibly, Mike. I mean, because when you said that, I immediately thought, well, no, the Beastie Boys really influenced it more and made it cool for white boys to rap.
The Beastie Boys kind of changed course, though. I will say this. The Beastie Boys weren't getting on other records, and they weren't jumping on records with other MCs like Eminem was doing. Hey, shout out to Big Knot Chi-Town. He gave us a $5 super chat. He said, what about Missy Elliott and Busta Rhymes? Eminem is not that cold. I think that the Missy and Busta Rhymes thing would be a decent matchup.
I'm about to say, is he talking like Missy versus Busta Rhymes or Missy or Busta in relationship to Eminem? Like, what is he saying exactly?
Well, you know what? I will say this. I don't think that a Missy versus with Busta Rhymes is justifiable to her and all of her skill sets. She's a great songwriter, great artist. She needs somebody that has all those gifts to go against, I think. You know what I mean? I would rather see her go up against like a Pharrell or something, somebody that has the songwriting, catalog, discography, and has their individual discography, who's rapped on some things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though I think her solo catalog trumps his, but I think his writing catalog trumps hers.
What'd you just say?
I think Pharrell's writing catalog trumps Missy's. It's just longer.
Mike, what are you smoking?
Are you serious?
Are you serious?
Okay. That might need to be our next verses.
Whoa.
I'm with that.
You think Pharrell's a better songwriter than Missy?
Yes.
Hell no.
We got Nerd to pull from.
Fight me.
I got Nerd to pull from. We got No Doubt to pull from.
Not in your case.
Huh?
You're not.
Oh no, I would love to do that one.
I don't got shit on none of Missy best shit.
You wanna do that one? We could do that one.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah.
No, you wanna do that one? I'll take Pharrell all day on that.
You're saying that is ridiculous. I want to let you know that's ridiculous. I want to let you know that sounds absurd to me.
Yo, real quick, man, since we got everybody in the room, man, you want to do this? You want to do this game? You want to do this game in T.I. versus? We're gonna do a mock versus real quick. Pop up on y'all. We wasn't even planning to do this today, but we might as well.
She might be the most innovative songwriter of the last 30 years, period, Mike.
Oh, she's very innovative. I'm a huge Missy Elliott fan, but I think that the range of Pharrell's material is just too much for that. Because when we start looking at it, outside of Aaliyah, Genuine, Monica, SWV, you kind of get trapped in there. But Mike, Pharrell's done so much all around.
I don't think you understand. The Aaliyah stuff, the Genuine stuff, the Missy album stuff alone is enough to take you down. It's enough to take you down.
Okay.
It's enough to take you down.
They're saying I'm high in the chat.
Because you are. You're going down, Mike. You're going down. I don't believe you said that.
I'm going to take my time with this one.
Mike,
I'm going to take my time with this one.
You're going to need a long time.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do this T.I. versus the game. So, Coop picked 20 songs from the game. I picked 20 songs from T.I. And shoot, let me get my pen and pad ready so we can take score on this, man. And y'all can help us too. As always, you know. You started yours off with, well, you know what? I think I went first because T.I.'s, got tenured in the game here. So I started out the T.I. versus with Bring 'Em Out. And Coop started with Ale Boombaye. Yeah, Ale Boombaye gets that
one. So we're going to take that one.
Yeah, you got that one. Top Back versus One Blood. I got Top Back on that.
Top Back.
Top Back. Okay, this is one of the ones that I just kind of pulled from the personal stash right here. I went My Life featuring Daz versus Put You on the Game.
I personally like the T.I. record probably better, but Put You on the Game is a bigger record, so let's say you.
I feel the same exact way. I feel like I like the Daz record. I like the My Life. A-Town veteran. Started at 11, went and bought an 8 ball. I've been staying down ever since.
No, I mean we can give it. It's just if people say Put You on the Game is like I want to see what the people say.
Okay, what do y'all say? Do y'all say T.I.'s My Life featuring Daz or the Game's Put You on the Game? I like Put You on the Game. It was dope. Timbaland went crazy with the beat, man. That was a dope record.
It's a dope record, Mike.
I'll give you that one, man.
How about this? It was one of those songs that wasn't really supposed to become a single, but still ended up on the radio. It was so dope.
Oh, yeah, that shit was hard, man.
It's hard.
And Game was killing it, too.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Let's Get Away, Hate It or Love It. Ooh. Hate It or Love It gets that.
Yep.
Wow. That's a good one. All right, you don't know me. Gang bang anyway. You don't know me gets that.
Yeah, yeah.
Swagger like us and running. Swagger like us.
I love running. That's Yayo's best verse.
Got my Desert Eagle on, girl. Just touched down. High Tech did that beat. I love that record.
High Tech did running?
Yeah, High Tech
That's
did.
my High Tech's best beats.
Yeah, that shit was hard.
That shit hard, running hard.
I personally, hold on one second. Hey, babe, I'm on live right now. Yeah. Swagger like us are running.
I'm gonna say Swagger like us.
I mean, because based on the same thing that we said about put you on the game and my life, we kind of gotta be consistent with that.
Yeah, we gotta be consistent.
Okay, ASAP and 100. That's ASAP.
Yeah, that's ASAP.
Front back. In my life, I got front back on that. Featuring UGK. All right. Rubber Band Man and Let's Ride. Rubber Band Man.
Rubber Band Man.
Wow, that's the Taliban. Dope Boys in the Trap and How We Do. How We Do got that.
That's How We Do. Yeah. That's when Drake come through the speakers and you can't do nothing about
it. Right. 24s and Don't Trip. 24s.
24s.
Whatever You Like, Church.
Church is the better song, actually. But if we're being consistent.
Whatever You Like.
Right.
Never Scared. Dollar in a Dream. Yeah, I went Never Scared. Yeah.
I say Dollar in a Dream, actually, Mike. I think Dollar in a Dream's a better song.
Come on. I feel you, but I don't feel you.
No, I mean, but that's one of Game's best lyrical performances, period.
That was T.I.'s breakthrough performance, period.
That's fine. We can give it the tip. I mean, I know the relatively, but a lot of these Game songs are better songs.
Well, I could have went in that route too. I guess I went for the bangers. People are saying Church. Oh, well, yeah,
I told you.
Going back.
Church is a better record.
I don't really like Whatever You Like, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying, Mike. It's not. I mean, it's cool. It's all right.
Okay, Live Your Life. Wouldn't Get Far. That's a good one. I like Wouldn't Get Far better. I like Wouldn't Get Far better too. I wasn't a big fan of Live Your Life. Live Your Life is another one of those records that was a hit, but yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it. But Wouldn't Get Far with Kanye West, dope record. What's Up, What's Happening, and Bulletproof Diaries. Ooh, I like that. What do y'all say in the chat? What's Up, What's Happening, or Bulletproof Diaries? Him and Ray are crazy on there. I love Bulletproof Diaries. I love What's Up, What's Happening, too. Oh, I love that record, too. I told you, Mike, that's one of Tip's best records. It's not too often that... How about this? You know I'm not big on picking diss records, like, for this format. Right. This case, this is one of those cases, much like The Bridge Is Over with KRS, where it's like, no, this is one of your 20 best songs, though. Yeah, you got to pick it. I think What's Up, What's Happening gets that one. Okay. Game has a lot of collaboration. Hey, I told you I was worried, actually, when I started going through Game's catalog. And then I knew who I was up against. I was like, oh, man. It's like, I don't know how this is going to play, depending on what records might pick. Look at the Grill and Name Me King. So, Mike, I'm going to tell you what. That might be my favorite Tip verse, and I'm so surprised that you picked it. Not a lot of people know about Look at the Grills off the 8-Ball MJG with Twister. They snapped on there. I love that record. See, I went crazy on that. And Tip has the best verse on there. He said it all. Must be out your mind thinking Tip won't touch it. See, I'm going to touch it, let it burn like Usher. Click, click, bang, nigga, end the discussion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he went crazy. Think shit sweet since you seen me with Puffy. Ain't nothing. Nah, I remember when that dropped. And I was like, yo, he just went crazy. You know, that's one thing I will say about T.I., man. He recognizes the moment. He did that on the song with Big Boy, too. He always does that when he's with Big Boy. But I'm talking about the song In the A, specifically. Mike, just to let you sucking niggas know that I'm the king. Yo, man, He knows the moment.
No, Mike, he's one of the best rappers ever at seizing the moment.
And
Mike,
Ludacris dialed that one in, man. That was kind of disappointing. In the A with Big Boy, it
yeah.
was T.I. went first and killed it. And then Big Boy came in. And then Luda's last verse, man, was anticlimactic. So
Compared to the prior verses, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
it kind of went in descending order, though. It's like Tip said it all so hard, and Big Boy comes through, and Big Boy's good for coming through, just wasn't as good as Tip's verse, and Luda was kind of a letdown because they came so strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had the perfect order on that because I think Big Boy is cool with going second a lot of the times anyway.
Big Boy don't care where you put him. He's like, I'm Big Boy, so I'm going.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely. So we went look at the grill, right?
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to have to get at the look at the grill. I don't even believe that. I don't believe you hit me with that.
Live in the Sky versus Game's Pain.
Yeah. I'm ambivalent about both of those songs.
Live in the Sky is probably bigger, man.
Yeah. So here's one thing that I noticed, and so here's Game's problem in the verses with his contemporaries that you're finding out right now. Well, he makes better album songs, maybe, than T.I. and Ross, but not bigger hits.
Right. I
So
think
his catalog-
I think Ross might have been the better matchup for T.I. because this is looking like 12-5 right now.
Because Tip, that's why I told you I was worried about picking Game, because where he strides at are the album tracks, actually, Mike. He's not the single artist that T.I. or Ross are. He's actually, for most of his career, he's been a better album maker than both of them. You know, outside of Tip's run early, like from, Trap Music King, Paper Trail, you know what I'm saying?
Right. People say they want to see a T.I. Versus Ludacris. What do you think about that? Because I tried to get Coop to pick Ludacris, actually.
What records does Luda have that's beating these records outside of Southern Hospitality?
I mean, Luda got a lot of features too, bro. Like,
Southern Hospitality and Move. The Made You Look remix.
the Made You Look remix. He's on, Missy Elliott's Gossip Folks. Welcome to Atlanta.
Gossip Folks isn't tough enough. Welcome to Atlanta is.
Okay. I don't know, man. Luda got a catalog, man.
I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying, how about this? What's happening to Game, I think would be happening to Luda, too, is what I'm trying to tell you.
I think that I picked a pretty tough list, if I do say so myself.
This is probably the best list that you've picked, if you really want to know the truth, too. That's some real Atlanta shit, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I had to do it for the city, man.
So
I had to do it for the city. I put It Ain't About the Money because that was one of his more current hits versus Don't Worry.
That's Don't Worry.
Okay.
You think It Ain't About the Money's better than Don't Worry with Mary J. Blige and Dr. Dre off the documentary?
Nah, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
I got Why You Wanna versus Why You Hate the Game. Why You Hate the Game got that.
Why You Hate the Game got that. But Why You Wanna was one of my favorite Tip records, Mike. I like what he did with that. And I like the fact that somebody that goes by Tip took the Q-Tip shit. You know what I mean? I thought it was
threw Q-Tip on the remix and all that stuff,
too. Yeah, a
too.
little creative license, Mike, like Tip's creative. I told you he's the most versatile MC to ever come out of the South.
And this list proves that, man, because it's so much stuff that I wanted to, put down that I didn't. I scratched off. I took off.
All his really dope street shit you ain't even named.
Nah, I ain't even go there. He has an illustrious catalog. I think maybe you should have picked Wayne. But see, even Wayne.
That was my whole. Now you want to know what? And what did I say? It's like, no, I kind of want to pick Wayne. I don't have time to go through all of that.
Yeah, you would have left off so much stuff.
Responsibilities. A 25-year-old with no responsibilities and minimal financial obligations can go listen to Wayne for a week straight and pick out 20 songs.
Well, you could just casually do it. How about I do this? I save this list.
It's got like 5,000 songs.
I save this list and I'll wait for you to come up with 20 Wayne songs and just put them up against that. Because the last one you're gonna lose too is What You Know versus Dreams.
I already knew what it was, Mike, because I ain't heard my favorite Tip song, and I already saved Dreams for the end, hoping you would play What You Know. But apparently you didn't. Nobody likes you. Nobody in Cali likes you right now, man. You know?
Yeah, so that looks like T.I. won that 13-7.
I told you. I told you I didn't like my chances when I started going through the songs because I'm like, oh, I can't play Game's album shit like that.
That's how I felt when I started picking Busta Rhymes songs. I was like, shit. And I started thinking about LL's catalog, and I was like, And people were still in the chat talking about I messed up Busta's list.
No, Mike,
what should I have played?
Mike, there were a couple things that you could have played, but you were still about to lose.
Right.
You're about to lose. Like, Mike, I knew I was about to lose. Because I know Tip's catalog the way you do. And I started thinking to myself, I was like, he may not even have to play his hard shit to get like 11, 12 real quick.
I didn't play Motivation. I didn't play, Pussy Pumper #1. I stayed away from Get Loose.
Yeah.
Talking to You. I didn't play Be Easy. Nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tip has a very, very, very good catalog. I think he's kind of going down the LL Cool J path of being underappreciated as well.
It's possible, Mike. Because the thing, for this versus, some of Game's stuff is like Letter to the King with Nas, Scream on Him, House of Pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to play as well.
No, you're right. Terminator 2 says, Smack announced Freeway versus Cassidy rematch for 2022. You interested in that?
Only because I remember the original and it was so epic and so viral. That was one of those first real viral moments.
It was.
The Cassidy Freeway battle is important because it was one of those first real viral moments where it's kind of like it lets you inside the streets, the industry, and the battle rap scene all at once. It was motherfucking exciting. It was exciting.
Back to the Hip-Hop Hall of Fame. Not Hip-Hop Hall of Fame, excuse me. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Do you think that KRS-One, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Chuck D's in there, Slick Rick, or any of those guys will ever get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I would like to say yes, but I think it's too early to really tell how they're really running this gamut of artists. Because, Mike, essentially, when you look at a good majority of the first set of inductees from the hip-hop genre, well, all these guys are attached to Def Jam.
That's interesting.
Run DMC, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, LL Cool J. So 4 of the 7 that have gotten in have been tied to the early run of Def Jam.
Run DMC technically wasn't signed to Def Jam, but I got you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 2 of them are deceased.
Yeah.
The other one is Jay and NWA. So it's really hard to read the meter right now on what they're doing.
Because it's like the cultural impact, it seems like they're disregarding the hip-hop impact. And that's why I'm glad that, the Hip-Hop Hall of Fames are coming, so that those things can be regarded in the sense that they need to be regarded. But I just hope that the big dogs of the culture really add the importance to it that it needs to, that needs to be on it. Because if people like Jay-Z don't, I don't want to say promote it, but you know what I mean, add credence to it and credibility to it, a lot of people won't even know that this is going on.
Right.
Shamario Patterson says, hey, I wonder what y'all think about Damani, T.I.'s son. I think he's super dope.
He can spit. He can rap.
I think that T.I. missed a huge opportunity of putting out the song with him and his son. What was that, on the Libra album?
Mm-hmm.
I think that should have been the first single. I think that would have been one of those things that really sets you apart in a way where not a lot of people could say that they got a back and forth song with their son and their son can rhyme his ass off. You know what I mean?
About to say, not a lot of guys are as legendary as he is that actually have a son that's talented enough to go back and forth on the mic legitimately without it seeming like it's something forced for us to be produced at mass consumption. It was very organic. Damani can rap his ass off, and you're absolutely right, Mike. It was a big misstep.
And without them looking like a
father
and son, because you got Rev Run and you got Diggy, right? And
It don't look
not,
corny.
yeah, it don't look, yeah, it's different.
It's dope.
And it was like the way that they did the song too, where T.I. was kind of giving him game, giving him pointers on, where he was going. I think that was a huge missed opportunity. That would have been an incredible single. I think that would have added a lot of publicity to the album, and it's a quality record. I think that really, if it would have been put out, could be like on a T.I.'s greatest hits. If he puts together his greatest hits or something.
Highly of it?
Huh?
You think that highly of it?
I do. I thought it was really dope. And I think, again, it's a unique opportunity to do something that not a lot of people can do. They took a spin on a record that it's kind of like coming of age for Jay in Memphis, but it was really his son.
No, that's a nice correlation, Mike. Yeah, you're right. I can see that.
And it's like, I don't know why that wasn't the choice. I remember listening to the album, and I was thinking, like, why wasn't this the single?
No, I remember you texted me and told me.
Yeah, that was a huge missed opportunity. But yeah, I think Damani's dope, man. And I think it's really interesting that he takes on the rap style that he takes on. I think he's a little bit Andre 3000 influence. Is that where you get?
Well, that's what I actually like about him, and this is why I'm saying that he's dope. Well, he don't sound really like his dad at all, now do he?
No, he doesn't.
That's dope that like your son can be sitting up here learning from up under you and craft out like his own sound of sorts. Like,
but he has his own identity, which is a great thing.
Right.
That's what hip hop's about, though, having your own identity. Like, I think that's what makes for the best groups, best collectives. I mean, even Dre said it on Watch for the Hook. Never has ever remembered in one crew been so diverse. Nobody in the Dungeon family sounds anything alike.
Remotely.
You know what I'm saying? Nobody. And I think that's what...
Same thing with Wu-Tang.
That's when everybody's comfortable in their own skin.
Everybody is the star.
Yeah. Do you think that... Who is the most overlooked person in Wu-Tang to you?
When you say overlooked, as in they deserve more appreciation?
I'm just saying, like, the least notable personality in the group.
Oh, it's the GZA.
You think so? I was going to say Master Killer.
No, I'd say the GZA.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got liquid swords. That's hard to say.
I mean, yeah, that's why I'm saying it, though. People acting like liquid swords ain't like...
Well, growing up,
there.
I always overlooked Master Killer.
Okay, so Mike, that's what I mean when it's like, okay, so Master Killer is not necessarily overlooked. He's just rated. He happens to be part of the greatest rhyme collective of MCs ever established. So he's fallen about 7th on the food chain, which is kind of appropriately rating him when you're looking at him. It's not better than Meth. It's not better than Dirty. It's not better than Ray. He's not better than Deck. He's not better than Ghost. He's not better than GZA. That's 6. That puts him at 7. He's rated.
People are saying Inspector Deck. I don't think Inspector Deck's overlooked. I think that people properly acknowledge, his huge verses. Now, I will say this about Inspector Deck. He is on their biggest song, him and Ray. So maybe he doesn't get a lot of acknowledgement for that, And he is lyrically right there with the top brass of the group, and he doesn't get that acknowledgement. Like, do you think that lyrically Inspector Deck is better than Meth?
Lyrically speaking, bar for bar, yes. So if we're talking lyrically in the crew, GZA and Deck have the sharpest sword lyrically. We're just talking the lyrics, like just straight up and down, bar for bar. Impressiveness, it's GZA and Deck lyrically that are the most impressive, even past Ray.
Poisonous paragraph, smash the phonograph, and have it be the Inspector Deck
on a war. Mike, I was thinking it while you were saying it. Bar for bar, it's Deck and GZA. Nigga, Mike, go to the same song, but nigga don't get mad. I got mad styles of my own, and it's shown when my hands grip the chrome microphone.
Yeah, they're very impressive lyrics.
Yeah, bar for bar, the GZA and Deck are the best lyricists in the Wu.
I can't say people are lyrically ahead of Ghost. I just can't say that, but I feel you.
Mike, I'm sorry, but it's like, I mean, however you feel about Ghost, here's what I tell you. Lyrically speaking, he doesn't have a verse better than Triumph. He doesn't have a verse better than Cream either, Mike. Not lyrically speaking, Mike. He doesn't. And think about how epic those songs are. So when you're saying that Ghost is better lyrically than Deck, bar for bar,
He doesn't have a verse better than Cream. I'm sorry, man. The Impossible verse.
No, I said lyrically. I said lyrically better. He has plenty of verses better. He doesn't have a verse lyrically better. Like, people understate that Deck verse. Deck's verse lyrically is better than Ray's verse on Cream.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great verse, actually.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Mike, go like you can just go down Deck's verse. Ain't Ghost on Guillotine?
Ghost is on Guillotine.
How he sound next to Deck verse?
I mean, they all got great verses, man.
How Ghost verse sound next to Deck verse on Triumph? It ain't like Deck been right there the whole time. Ghost been rhyming.
Oh man, I love Ghost verse on Triumph.
But Mike, it's the third best verse on there at best. Who got the best verse?
Oh, Inspector Deck does.
That's what I'm saying. So when you say, well, I know what I'm saying lyrically, bar for bar lyrically. Every time Deck touches it, go to Liquid Swords with Duel of the Iron Mike. The thugs kill for drugs, plus the young bucks bust. Duck in handcuffs, throats get cut when dough rust. Out of town foes look shook but still pose. We move like real pros through the streets we stroll. Bullet holes laced with windows in 160. Soul controller avenues, that's the dream that's old.
I was looking forward to Inspector Deck's solo album too, man. With Uncontrolled, I went and got that. I somehow got my hands on like the snippet of Uncontrolled Substance.
Mike, I'm spitting the Deck verse people don't even really talk about.
Oh yeah, no. Deck's the truth, man.
Deck nasty.
I was trying to go back to one of these comments. Terminator 2 said Master Killer is whack. Listen, man. I know as a youngster, I didn't really get a lot of the stuff that Master Killer was throwing. I think Master Killer's delivery is probably the least flashy of anybody in the clan. And that includes you guy, because I think you guy has a dope delivery and voice. You know what I'm saying?
I like his voice.
No, for real. You guy got a dope voice. And I think that Master Killer's voice is somewhat similar to GZA's, but he doesn't have the lyrical abilities of GZA. And for a long time, I used to put Master Killer at the bottom. I don't think he's at the bottom per se. How do you rank the clan from top to bottom? And we're talking about the clan because I think they're going to be next inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for hip hop artists. And I'm looking forward to them doing so. But yeah, how do you rank the clan?
We're talking about as MCs? Are we including catalog? Like, what are we doing? We just talking about the MCs that they are? No catalog included?
Are we talking about catalog, all that included?
All that included goes to number one.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to put Ray number 2.
Okay.
You have to put Meth number 3. After that, I would go to GZA because of Liquid Swords, because even though I want to kind of say dirty, Liquid Swords is just better than Return to the 36 Chambers. And GZA wrote a lot of Return to the 36 Chambers.
Okay.
So he would go 4th. I would put Dirty 5, put Deck 6, put RZA 7, Master Killer 8, You God 9. If we including Kappa, I'm probably putting Kappa right ahead of RZA after Deck.
Why do you put Deck ahead of RZA?
Poisonous Paragraphs.
Smash, but RZA's the producer too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so.
Mike, if we're going to count, that's what I mean. If we're that's why I said catalog. That's what I mean. We're talking about them as MCs.
Yeah. Okay.
RZA's production isn't really a factor, because if so, he goes all the way up to number 1.
He goes up to number 1.
If we're including his production, he goes all the way up to number 1. You know?
And then everything else.
MC, but as an MC, he's no Deck on the mic. Very few guys are Deck on the mic as a lyricist. Mike, but what's that on Moment of Truth? Above the Clouds, Mike.
So you think RZA's a better MC than Master Killer, You God, and Kappa?
No, I said if we're including Kappa, I would put Kappa behind Deck and ahead of RZA.
I
but I
got you.
think RZA is a better lyricist in MC and has just more of a off kilter, interesting style. You know, like Fourth Chamber, Wu Gambino's.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can rhyme.
Oh yeah, RZA can rhyme. I think that when you talk about producers in hip hop lyrically, he's always been thought of as one of the best until a man named Kanye West came along and really trumped a lot of, I guess, rapper producers, as full artists with his catalog. I think I'm gonna say, man, Ghost is number one. You know what? Let me ask you this, because you did, qualify that list. If we just talk about lyrically, top to bottom, who you got?
Lyrically,
Mm-hmm.
Jizza, Deck, Ray, Ghost, Meth.
Wow.
Yeah, lyrically. Talking about the bar for bar. See, like why Meth is so special is because of his voice and his delivery. He can put things together and make them sound great that very few people do. And that trumps a lot of stuff. But if we just talking about the bars, like when has the world turned, I spread like germ. Burn the globe with the pestilence. The hard-headed never learn. A lot of that being great is about his delivery, his timing.
I like his timing. I was just about to say that. Like, The Last Temptation, I'm the son of David Ruffin. Like,
right. Mike, shadowboxing, it's a lesson in timing and masterful delivery. It's not verbal intercourse lyrically. It's not triumph lyrically. It's a masterful, all-encompassing MC performance. That's usually the performance that he gives, a la Biggie.
He got a lot of quotables. And I think we were going through that one on one episode, maybe last year or something. He had a lot of quotables in The Source in the 90s. And Biggie didn't really have any quotables in The Source.
Well, what I'm saying, we lyrically talking bar for bar. And so let's also go to like just lyrically speaking, I just think Jizza and Deck are more Nas, Rakim like lyrically with it in terms of what they do with their bars. Ray and Ghost have lyrically just put in so much strong work over a course of time that it's not fair to put Meth ahead of them. Even if he might be a better lyricist, we're talking about all things considered. So Meth lyrically, like just technically, could be better than Ray and Ghost, but where's the work to prove it? Because Ray and Ghost got work to prove and say, no, I got that nigga.
No, that's fair. That is very fair.
And that's why he's at 5. Because he's not the lyricist talent, just bar for bar that Jizza and Deck are, but he also hasn't done the work lyrically that Ghost and Ray have done.
I might say, and Method Man was my favorite rapper growing up, by the way.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I might say that his verse on Shadowboxing might be my favorite Method Man verse.
It's my favorite Method Man verse. See, that's funny. Our favorite Method Man verses are on the same song, and it's a different verse, Mike. That's how great he still is, because I like the first verse.
No, that's what I said, the first verse.
Oh, the first one? Oh, yeah. It breaks it down to the bone gristle, Mike. That's the best start off to a rap song I've ever heard in my life. When I heard that, I was hooked. I breaks it down to the bone gristle. I was like, who the fuck?
Yeah, that beat was crazy, too, man. I don't know, man. I love the Keith Murray, you mythological niggas is comical. My astronomical is coming through like the flu bombing you.
The 3 greatest start offs ever to me. I came in the door. I said it before. I got you stuck off the realness. We be the infamous. You heard of us, official Queensbridge murderers. Yeah. And I breaks it down to the bone gristle, ill speaking scud missile, heat sinking, Johnny blazing.
I came in the door, said it before. I don't know, man. Rakim got a couple, man.
That's the iconic one. That might be the most iconic start off ever. I came in the door, I said it before. I never let the mic magnetize me no more. Everybody know that.
Inviting me around. I can't hold it back. I'm looking for the line, taking off my coat, clearing my throat.
That's another one, Mike.
Yo, man.
That's another one. He got a couple on that song.
Listen, man, Rakim got to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It ain't right. I'm sorry. I understand that this is more about mainstream, fanfare when it comes to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But Rakim is special. And It's wild that he has such groundbreaking records that are mainstream records, really, if we think about it. They have become mainstream records over time, even if they weren't mainstream when they came out. You know what I mean? Because you can't listen to Eric B. as president. You play that beat for anybody, they've heard it before.
Okay, I get what
You
you're
know what
saying.
I'm saying? Or they've heard variations of it.
You want to know what has been great about Rakim is that through people reusing his words so many times and reusing the beats that they originally reused.
It's the 3-6 thing.
Yeah, so it's almost like, well, it's like, oh, you may not have heard Microphone Fiend, but you done heard that beat and you done heard the words to the song before.
Exactly.
And you didn't even know it.
And didn't even know it. You've heard Paid in Full. I don't care. Yeah, you've heard Paid in Full. You've heard I Ain't No Joke. You've heard it.
You've heard it. It's been taken and flipped and looped by everybody.
That's why in a versus he might not have fared well, or his contemporaries may not have fared well against him, because those records are so massive.
No, that's why I told you, Mike. It's like, no. When KRS is like, I'm still number one, it's like, no, then your 10 best and Rakim's 10 best, like, you might win 2 of those. That's KRS we talking about. KRS 10 best songs. If you line them up next to Rakim's 10 best songs, Mike, he might win 2.
Well, we got to go 20. We got to be fair. But even with that, if Rakim just went and did like a feature verse from the Truth Hurts song or something like that, like he could really get current with it. He could do the Watcher part too.
Mike, what if he like started doing Mahogany and then flipped into the New York State of Mind beat when he got to the New York State of Mind part? You feel me? That's what I mean about his shit everywhere.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's no way you could not have heard Rakim or his cadence or his track. Like, Rakim has to get in there. And I don't even think he's been nominated one time. I don't think Nas has been nominated either. But, again, I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has to acknowledge Nas, Wu-Tang, Tribe, Cass, and Rakim. Is that too much to ask? Am I asking for too much?
You might be, because here's what they're going to have to do, and this is what I mean, it's still too early to tell. They're going to have to clarify what a hip-hop rock star is in their minds, and then we're going to have to let them know if that shit is okay, because they may look at it like, how about this? They might be looking at somebody like Eminem and a Lil Wayne as more worthy than a Nas and a Rakim. And we need to let them know it's like worthy with those guys first. And if you don't know, we'll break that shit down.
Well, that's interesting because, again, it's like hip hop is the only genre that has to be crossover for them. You know what I'm saying? But again, that didn't pertain to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, but I guess because they were so early on.
Like, Michael Jordan shouldn't get into the Hall of Fame before Magic Johnson. Magic was there first, even if Michael was greater. You get it?
No, straight up. And honestly, if we're talking about being groundbreaking in a genre and in a culture, Rakim should have been in there. You know, I since LL's in there now, I don't have to fight for that anymore. The next thing I'm fighting for is Rakim.
I hope we're not fighting as long, Mike. I'm going to fight with you this time.
Yeah, I'm going to fight for Rakim to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because before I was thinking like, well, it's Rakim, you know what I'm saying? It's not super mainstream. They're not going to acknowledge that. But now I think about it, those records have become mainstream. That whole gaudy, jewelry and everything that Rakim did, it is mainstream. Like, you could tell. Like,
Dapper Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody want to say the Slick Rick ain't got enough, I get it. But NWA didn't have a lot, and the Sex Pistols had like one album. So, I don't think that is an excuse either. I think Slick Rick should be in there as well. Slick Rick is super influential.
Lottie Dottie in the show, Mike. He should get in just off of that.
I just hate that it took LL so long to get in, because what that does is sets the precedence of like, we need more time. You know what I'm saying? And that should have never happened.
It's kind of saying we only know the people who hit the meter on a mainstream level. That's what I mean. So it's like if you look at somebody like NWA,
Right.
Well, they got in there about a lot of the controversy that they started. Everybody know who niggas with attitudes are. Everybody don't know who Rakim is.
Do you think Snoop Doggy Dogg should be in there or will get in there?
Has Snoop been nominated? Snoop precedes Nas and Cass.
And Jay.
And Jay, obviously. I mean,
no, I don't think Snoop's been nominated.
Didn't he write The Chronic in Doggy Style?
He did.
So they got to start working this shit out, man.
Yeah, I don't understand why Snoop Doggy Dogg's not in there.
Yeah, because Snoop, I mean, if they're going by any box, you're going by a rap box, you're going by a rock star box, you're going by a catalog, epic level mainstream box, Snoop checking those.
Yeah, that's another person we got to fight for too, man.
Yeah, I mean, how about this? Snoop check more of their boxes than Rakim does.
He does. That's what I was about to say. Like, as far as like mainstream success, notoriety, impact, longevity, yeah, Snoop should be in there.
And Mike, and here's another thing about Rakim, and here's how important how Rakim is, and people forget this. When Snoop first came out, you want to know what the conversation about Snoop was as an MC? Was that he had the smoothest delivery since who?
Slick Rick.
Rakim.
Rakim? Okay.
Conversation. They were like, this is the guy with the smoothest delivery since Rakim came through the door.
People in the chat seem to think that Snoop's going to get in. Mr. Buck says Snoop would definitely be in there one day. King Ascend says Snoop will get in. I don't know, man. I don't know.
What do you think about Wu-Tang and Snoop at the same time? Because it's the same year. His solo album's 93, and so the Wu-Tang's 93.
I'll tell you this. I predict that Eminem will get in there before Snoop Dogg. And that's real.
What'd you just say?
I predict that Eminem will get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before Snoop Dogg.
Mike, we're going to go on a campaign to prevent that from happening before that happens.
I think it's going to happen. I think I'll go a step further. I think Eminem will get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before Nas and Snoop Dogg.
I don't have any words.
I think Eminem's going to be first ballot. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree.
People are saying Snoop gets in, but he hasn't even been nominated yet, guys. He's been eligible for 3 years now. Yeah, he's been eligible since 2018. He ain't got no nomination. So
crazy because Snoop got hits.
Yeah,
I mean, the late hits, Drop It Like It's Hot, Beautiful. He got stuff.
He hasn't got nominated. So yeah, the fact that y'all think that he is gonna get in there, I don't see any signs of that. We probably got to fight for that, but yeah.
So, Mike, I have a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Since the Hip Hop Hall of Fame is in the process of being erected, so let's say that every year they're going to do 5 honorees. Who are going to be the first 5 solo or group? Who are the first 5 honorees for the Hip Hop Hall of Fame?
From what I've been told, they're going to start off with DJs. But if you ask me, and we starting off with MCs, I would say Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5.
Yes.
I would say the Treacherous 3.
Yes.
I would say Curtis Blow.
Fascinating. Okay.
I would say Houdini.
I wouldn't say Houdini. I would say Curtis Blow.
Okay. And then I might go LL after that.
Okay.
Those are the first 5. Oh, no, Run DMC. Did I say Run DMC?
That's why I would take Houdini out.
I thought I said Run DMC. I'm sorry. All right. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, Treacherous 3, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, and Houdini. Yeah, those are my 5.
That would be taking LL out.
Yeah, I'm taking LL out of he'll go in the next round.
What's so important about Houdini to you that supersedes LL in your mind when you say that?
I think that Houdini's, honestly, I truthfully speak, I truthfully stand on this, and I really believe this. I think Houdini made better songs than Run DMC did.
Whoa.
I do. One Love is a banger. Freaks Come Out at Night is a banger. Yes. Friends is a banger. Houdini made some great-ass songs. Run DMC just had, they had a lot with them. They made great songs too. But between the two, I remember, being a little kid here, we were hearing those Houdini songs all the way down here back in the day. those were like some real commercial crossover hip hop records.
Okay.
Whereas Run DMC's hip hop records were more rock influenced, where Houdini's was a little bit more R&B, where R&B radio could attach to them a little bit more.
No, you're right, which is exactly why I was getting played and burned down here when we were kids. You're absolutely right.
And they're very important. They're another ones that get understated too. I mean, since we're on that whole underappreciated tip.
No, you make a great case, Mike. I was just asking questions. You know what I mean? I was just curious because you don't hear their name come up, and it just made me think, well, why is he saying Houdini?
King of Sin says Houdini had the first platinum hip-hop record. I could believe it, man. I mean, Houdini made some classics. Like, even when that Snoop commercial, that Corona commercial where Friends is playing in the background, that is a banger. And that's another song that we've heard that beat over and over. One Love, like...
Our whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Our whole life.
Freaks Come Out at Night is a banger.
Yeah, that's epic, Mike. No, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, but...
I'm going to rock with you on it. You know, you just got to plead your case.
Yeah, and I would say LL probably comes in that next class, right? Does Kumo D get in twice in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame? I guess so. He would have to as a solo artist. Yeah. And I think maybe that next class would be more of a Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick, LL, Kumo D, Rock, Kim, Kara. I don't know.
You're 5, so ain't no fitting all of them.
Yeah. Dr. Dre, I guess. Yeah, the World Class Wrecking Crew might not make it.
Somebody didn't type that in, did they?
No. I was just saying that because that's like Dr. Dre's early stuff. Someone says, Marquis says, Cool Herc, Sugar Hill Gang, Curtis Blow, Run DMC, Public Enemy.
I can see Sugar Hill.
I can see Sugar Hill too. Sugar Hill Gang considered one-hit wonders? No,
not really.
Yeah, not really.
And they existed at a different time. Like, they were important to the transition of the scene from like the rocking the party to rocking the record in the booth. You know,
they were very important. I think that they didn't really. The big record wasn't like an original record, right?
They were kind of like a borderline disco group band that, like, you know, was on the hip hop scene rapping. Like, they were, you know, they had a whole stage performance thing going on that was even bigger than, you know, what they were doing briefly recording wise.
King of Sin says, what about the Fat Boys? That's a good one.
I like the Fat Boys.
I like the Fat Boys too. Can You Feel It is a banger.
How about this? If I was doing like a second run, like I would probably be like LL, Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh, Fat Boys, NWA, Public Enemy, and then the next one I would get to the MCs like KRS and Kane and Rakim.
Well, I might go Beasties in that range too. You're not really high on the Beastie Boys, huh?
Just because lyrically they're not where their peers are.
Yeah. I can feel you on that.
They're just not there where their peers are. It has absolutely nothing to do with them being white. I actually have, Mike, I love License to Ill.
Yeah. It's more about they were making songs as opposed to rapping at the skill level of their peers.
Right. It's like, I know you love Paul's Boutique more, but License to Ill is my shit. Like, I love
License to Ill got hits.
Got bangers on it, Mike.
Hold it now.
Certified banger.
Yeah.
Even the corny stuff, Mike. Girls. Boom, 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 boom. All I really want is girls. Yeah, I remember all that shit from my childhood. Like, I love the Beastie Boys. It's just like me. I'm a rap dude, Mike. I like bars. So it's like when you're saying the Beastie Boys, it's like, no, I'm not putting the Beastie Boys in over Rakim.
Well, you're a lyrical guy, right? So I'll probably put Grandmaster Caz in there before I put Sugar Hill Gang in there.
Kaz was Rakim's favorite MC. I'm with you on the Kaz thing too. That's what I'm saying.
He wrote the shit.
That's why I said it's like, no, I see you on the Sugar Hill Gang, but it's like I don't totally feel it. I'm an MC guy. You know what I'm saying?
Big Knot from Chi-Town says, question, why is Cool G Rap really never spoken about?
We're making it a point to speak about him more, but I'm going to tell you the main reason that he's not spoken about is because of the rhetoric. Like KRS-One and Kane and Rakim, What kind of knowledge of yourself, guys? There's a lot of teachings, a lot of 5% influence. There's just a lot of content. Kool G Rap is a street dude. So some of his stuff, although it's just as good, bar for bar, it just doesn't play as well live. Some of the stuff does, Mike, like Truly Yours. It's a demo. Yeah. Hill Street Blues, Streets of New York. Yeah. No, I fuck with G Rap. I told you, Mike, I prefer G Rap to Kane and KRS if we're talking lyrically.
Wow.
Like me personally. Like for me personally, Rakim and Kool G Rap lyrically are the best from that era for me.
You know what? I agree with you somewhat on the Kool G Rap and KRS deal. Like, and I've grown even more of an appreciation of KRS as years and years have gone on. But I think I might prefer Kool G Rap as an MC over KRS too. Now over Kane, no. I'm Rakim, Kane, then Kool G Rap. But I feel what you're saying, bar for bar maybe, because I think, man, Kane just has such a clear and clean ass delivery, man.
No, he does, but but this is what I mean. It all goes down to what you like. Oh, it's like, no. I like that Mobb Deep shit. I like that Griselda shit.
No, you're right.
Kool G Rap's the author of that.
Yeah, he's the father of that. He's the
real father of that. I gravitate to him more. I go listen to G Rap more than I listen to Kane and LL.
But you're right. He was able to adjust to the hardcore shit that was going on in the 90s way better than his peers were because it was him.
Because he built it.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You remember that Flex album, the Big Cap and Flex?
Yes, of course.
And what was the song with Prodigy and Kool G Rap?
Oh, yeah, you talking about first, nigga. I know what you're talking about, though.
You up, fuck you up, nigga. I'll fuck you up. It'd be the trip. Some of the Queens gangsters, infamous mobsters, use a wankster. Rock 40-inch wheels. That song was hard. That song was hard.
Realist on Murder Music?
Yeah, man.
G-Rap spazzed on that.
Yeah, man. G-Rap fit right in with what was going on, man. You know, he was also on that Talib album. Talib album. The Reflection Eternal album.
What's that? He said something on like the Mobb Deep joint. My 9 is like a time machine. BC dates you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Kool G Rap really adjusted with the times a little bit better. I think the one thing
Mike, he didn't adjust to the times. The times caught up to him.
Right. And he was able to mesh right in. I think the one thing, though, you know, his peers, they were kind of forced to make radio records in a way that he wasn't. And he just didn't. And he stuck to his guns.
No, Mike, he just didn't. Yeah. Like he wasn't. Yeah, he just didn't. Yeah. He's like, fuck that.
No, for real. I think that Fast Life is like the closest to a radio record you're going to get from Kool G Rap.
That had more to do with Nas being popping and them wanting to get Nas on the record.
I love the fact that Nas was on the record. Jay didn't say anything about Kool G Rap in his speech. He, like I said earlier, he mentioned Kane, KRS, Rakim, also mentioned LL, and the other person was Chuck D.
Well, that's funny because, you know, he has Kane swagger, but his lifestyle is Kool G Rap's on his first 2 albums.
It is, man. He does have Kane swagger with Kool G Rap's rhetoric.
Yeah, because he was living G Rap's lifestyle. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why he says, yeah, hearing me rap's like hearing Kool G rap in his prime. It's like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, no, for real. It's like hearing Dead Presidents. Which one of those guys would you say?
That's Kool G Rap.
Yeah.
That's Kool G Rap. That's what I'm saying. My politics
Kool
as usual. Feeling it. That's Kool G Rap.
It is.
That's not Kane. That's G Rap. Can I Live? That's G Rap. Imaginary Player. Mike.
You know what? Reasonable Doubt is G Rap.
Mike, Imaginary Player. Streets is Watching. That's G Rap.
You know what? I'll give you Streets is Watching, but I think Imaginary Player is Kane.
It's both. Come on, that's where Kane's charisma meets G Rap street rhetoric.
You got these young cats acting like they slung rap. Yeah. All of the dumb raps talking about how they fun stacks. I see them in the streets. I don't see none of that.
Damn,
Playboy. Let's fuck the hum at. Where's all the ice with all the platinum under that? Those ain't Rolex diamonds. What the fuck you done at that?
Yeah, that's G-Rap with Kane swagger.
Hey, that's pretty dope. I will give Jay this, man. He, like you said, he's ahead. He's super skilled to the fact that he can take in so many things and regurgitate it with his own style and likeness, and it sounds brand new to you. It's awesome.
So I hear Cool G rap every time I listen to Nas, Jay, and Big. That's how important he is. Because when I listen to Nas, I hear Cool G rap and Rakim. When I listen to Jay, I hear Cool G rap and Kane. When I listen to Big, I hear Cool G rap and Ice Cube.
Wow.
I hear it. G-Rap is all over the guys that came after him, and Mike, specifically Mobb Deep and Prodigy too, so you can go there.
No, definitely. So, Cool G-Rap is the father of Griselda.
Right. Mike, the only person from that era has an MC I put above him is Rakim.
Wow.
For me. Because I can see his lineage too, and how he influenced the guys that have even become greater than him. His influence is over them.
Where do you think his influence is all time? Like, where do you place him all time anyway?
I mean, Mike, I just brought up Nas, Big, and Jay. It don't get no higher.
Diesel says, in my opinion, Cool G Rap and NWA are the most influential rappers of all time. I love that conversation. Who are the three most influential hip hop artists of all time? What you say?
I mean, Mike, all these dudes out here talking this street shit. G-Rap.
I'm gonna have to put Tupac in number one, bro. Like, I gotta say Tupac in number one.
Tupac is the most influential hip hop artist ever, but Cool G-Rap has influenced the craft of emceeing more than Tupac has.
Hey, shout out to Big Knot Chi-Town. He left us a $20 super chat. He said, I appreciate you guys. May you all continue with great success, and all you know, the industry gets ready for millions of subscribers soon. And peace to you, sir. And let's get millions and millions of people in here. We appreciate the donation as well. But peace. What were you saying though? Top three?
I mean, when I hear MCs like who MC. I hear him more than I hear anybody, including Rakim. I hear Rakim's influence in terms of like the songs and the bars, but the craft of emceeing. Mike, what East Coast rap did you grow up on? Because all the East Coast rap that I grew up on sound like they got it from Cool G Rap.
Shannon Williams says Jay-Z is the most influential rapper ever. I love this conversation.
How can that be? When he's
I think he may be. I see where you're going to go. You're going to say he can't be because he came in at a certain point.
G-Rap made this shit okay, made this shit cool. G-Rap was the nigga that wasn't selling the records that these niggas was moving, but was still running around with the same crews and sets and jewels and money. Right. He was the nigga that was like really like living this life and doing the rap shit.
Love Me More Malicious says, what do we mean by influence?
I said on the craft of emceeing.
Okay, so you're talking about just the emceeing. I'm just, you know what? Let's do it like this. I think this is better for people to conceive, right? If there were three people removed from this whole shit that never happened, who's gonna be missed the most?
So that's what I'm saying. So Jay can't be the most influential because part of Jay being influential has something to do with Biggie dying, and he got his style somewhere else. So when you're saying that,
oh my God, I'm not gonna go there. If Jay-Z doesn't happen, a lot of things don't happen though, Coop. You got to be real about that.
How influential was he when Big was here?
He was just emerging.
Mike,
you hold on. Do you truly believe
Nas and Snoop stepped on this scene and immediately became influential?
They were on majors. They were on majors too. It's a little different. They were on majors. We gotta qualify that too. You can't sit here and act like Jay-Z stepped in at Def Jam. Really,
Jay's been around for a minute, Mike.
Yeah.
I know who Jay was. I know who Jay was.
I feel you, man.
In my Lifetime CD in '94. We remember the Hawaiian Sophie shit. This nigga was on tour with Kane. He been around.
He been around, but he hasn't been around in the form that we know him as.
You want to know why? Because his influence wasn't like that from the onset. So when
you're gonna dock him for the fact that he just wasn't as good from jump as somebody like a Biggie and Nas.
They were immediately influential from the moment they touched the microphone, Mike.
He grew into it.
So, Mike,
I think he grew to be more influential. Maybe not more than Tupac, but more than Biggie. I think Jay's more influential than Biggie. I will say that.
I will never say that out loud, Mike.
I will have to say that.
Say it if you want.
P. White says, Mike, knock it off.
You won't catch me saying that shit out here in these streets.
Okay.
BIGPOPPA. No info for the DEA. No.
Hove's a living legend, and I tell you why. Everybody want to be Hove, and Hove's still alive, man. And it's the truth. Do you remember everybody was out here when Jay put on throwback jerseys? Everybody was doing it. Jay put on a North Carolina Jordan jersey. Everybody was doing it. Jay said, "You know what? I'm too old for throwbacks." And we put on a button up. People start putting on button ups, man.
Hey, Mike,
the commissioner of the NBA called him and was like, "Look, you're fucking with our money, man." Like,
Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now. Nas got a whole tattoo on his belly, and it's based on what? It's based on what Pac did.
Well, yeah, Pac's different. I think Pac's probably the most influential hip hop artist, period.
So that's what I'm saying. Is like, you know, okay, Mike, go listen to In My Lifetime Volume 1. You want to know why In My Lifetime Volume 1 sounds inconsistent? Because he's watching Life After Death get made, and he's trying to do what Biggie's doing, but he can't do it as well.
Not at that point, no.
I would call the most influential rapper of all time somebody who's been obviously influenced by Kane and G-Rap, being influenced by Big before Big died, and then, like, no.
Somebody said something real big in the chat, and I wanted to address this. I was going to go there. Marquis says Wayne and Kanye have more influence than Jay.
They're right.
That's wild. They might be right.
When you're talking about influential, it's like,
I think Kanye's on the list.
Ye's on the list.
Kanye's on the list.
Wayne
is on the list too.
Yeah, Wayne's on the list, but Pac's that dude.
Yeah, Pac's that dude.
If we're talking about the craft of emceeing, it's Cool G Rap.
It's hard for me to say that over Rakim though. Like Rakim's influence on just the craft of emceeing.
But guys don't
reaches everybody, and not just people who are talking about street shit too. So
no, right. But that's what I'm saying is that you have to understand what the game is gravitated towards. What Rakim spits out, the masses have not gravitated towards. The masses have gravitated towards what Cool G Rap spits out. It's just the reality of the matter.
Brian Blinker says depends on what generation, and I think that's a legitimate statement. So if we're going from era to era, for the 80s, who's the most influential?
Overall?
Yeah.
Overall influence, I mean, that's hard, Mike. Just everything, all things being considered?
All things being considered.
Slick Rick.
Oh.
All things being considered. You said all things being considered? See, when I'm talking about Cool G Rap, that's what I keep on saying. I'm talking about the craft of emceeing when I'm talking about Cool G Rap. If we're talking about all things being considered, Slick Rick.
I see someone say Rakim, Tupac, and NWA. I like that list.
That's a solid list. Slick Rick's more influential overall than Rakim is, though.
Why do you say that?
Lottie Dottie, The Show, Children's Story, The Chains, The Voice, The Swagger, The Patch. Everybody want to be Slick Rick.
Okay, I'm not mad at that.
Like
the storytelling.
Yeah, everybody want to be Slick Rick.
Yeah, he took the storytelling to the next level.
Mike, Frozen came on last night, Mike. He going back and forth with Ray. Yeah. Everybody loved Rick the Ruler.
Yeah, Rick gets placements in every generation.
The Ruler's back from The Blueprint. Destroy and Rebuild from Stillmatic. Lottie Dottie from Doggy Style.
Who's the most influential in the 90s? Tupac, right?
Yeah.
The 2000s.
Yay.
Kanye. 2010s is Wayne, right?
I would think Wayne.
That's interesting. If somebody said Jay-Z in the 2000s, I wouldn't knock that totally, but yeah, I think what we're looking at really, if we're talking about era to era, and I guess it's only fair to do a top 5 in that, it looks like what you picked was Slick Rick, Tupac, Kanye, and Wayne, and you would have to throw an extra person in there. Who would be a fifth?
Influence-wise?
Yeah.
From what time frame again? Like, are we picking?
Just period. So it's like from the 80s, you got Slick Rick. From the 90s, you got Tupac. From the 2000s, you got Kanye. From the 2010s, you got Wayne. So you get an extra one in there from any era.
That's when I'm going with Rakim.
Okay.
Right. That's when I'm going to him.
I'm sorry. In that stance, I might have to go with Jay.
No, and you're not wrong for that, but I'm like I said, I'm an MC guy.
Yeah, I mean clearly, Rakim changed the way everybody rap.
So that's where I'm gonna go.
But I think Jay, there's two people though. There's two people, man. I think Dr. Dre has to get some credence too. He's a game changer, man. He really is.
But what sound has he influenced?
What do you mean? What sound has he influenced? Do you know who he brought in the game? Who you think brought you the old?
No. I mean, like, so his mark is as a producer, right?
Yes.
Hasn't he had a lot of help?
I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm not just saying this because I want some headphones.
No. All I'm saying is that, like, when I listen to Daz shit don't sound like Dre shit to me. Quick shit don't sound like Dre shit to me. You get what I'm saying? It's like,
and Dre shit don't sound like this shit.
Right. I mean, he's influenced the culture as a whole because he's Dr. Dre, but a lot of that has to do with the records that he's made. There's not a direct... He's influencing the culture through the quality of music that he makes. He's not influencing, like, the next producer. Like, I don't hear nobody that sound like Dr. Dre or trying to sound like Dre. You get what I'm saying? I hear dudes trying to sound like Rakim and Cool G rap all the time, my whole life. I'm not taking nothing away from Dre, but we talking about influence.
I think that his influence extends further from
his influence in what he does for the MC in terms of putting them out there, making them viable. That's what I'm saying. His influence is that, I produce niggas for life and straight out of Compton.
It's the direction.
Doggy Style. I produce The Chronic. I produce Get Rich or Die Trying. Yeah. So he's influential to the artists that he's working with, and that impacts the culture. Yeah. But it's just hard when you throw him in there when we're talking about a bunch of MCs that we can find direct correlations to what they've done. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, if we want to talk about direct births, right? He gave us Snoop Dogg, right?
Right.
He gave us Eminem.
Right.
He gave us Tupac's biggest record. I can't say that. I'm not going to even go with that.
Record. Not his biggest record. Don't say that. Don't say that.
No, I was going to say All Eyes on Me. And that rollout, Dre was a big part of, even though he didn't really put as much work in on it as Daz did. So I'm going to leave Tupac out of it.
You mean Dre out of it?
I'm sorry, yeah. Well, no, I'm going to leave Tupac out of the Dre conversation.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, you can say Dre. Dre's influenced the artist by the material that he's made, but we just bought up a whole bunch of, like, groundbreaking MCs, and then you kind of toss Dre in. It's like, I just don't think it fits the format with what we're talking. Because then I could go RZA. Then we can go Kanye the producer. You feel what I'm saying?
No, that's real. I think Dre has given us bigger acts than RZA. I think, when you got Nate Dogg, you got DLC.
Oh, yeah.
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 It's, I mean, I'll put it this way.
When Ice Cube left, how about this? When Ice Cube left and made America's Most and Death Certificate, that didn't sound like no NWA shit. It didn't sound like he was trying to get beats that sounded like Dre's beats.
I'll tell you this, though, Cool. If this whole thing was going on, this hip-hop thing was going on, and we removed Dr. Dre from the equation, a lot of things are different.
Those are facts. That's why I said, no, he's influenced the culture as a whole because of the material.
If we remove Dr. Dre from the equation, things are vastly different. If we remove Jay-Z from the equation, things are vastly different. And I will say this, even if we remove Puffy from the equation, things are different.
When you say if we remove Jay from the equation, things are different, please explain to me how. Because when you're saying because when you're saying you remove Dr. Dre from the conversation, and this might be the biggest mark of his influence, if you were to remove Dr. Dre from the conversation, that's about 7 or 8 of the 50 greatest rap albums of all time that no longer exist.
We remove Jay. If we remove Jay-Z, there's no Rockefeller records. I don't think somebody like Kanye West.
How many classic albums did Rockefeller produce?
I was about to go into that.
You're not missing it like you think you're missing it, because outside of missing Siegel, you're not gonna miss Rockefeller.
You're gonna miss Kanye West. I don't think Kanye West happens without Rockefeller.
I do.
I don't.
I do. Mike, he made the album by his damn self anyway.
But no one was gonna put it out. Nobody was trying to sign Kanye as is, and Kanye snuck in the game because they needed his beats and they were allowing him to be him. I don't think you would have gotten a college dropout. I mean, he was telling everybody that they were passing up on these records.
Mike, he wasn't even signed to Rockefeller when he was making the college dropout.
I understand what you're saying.
He was getting placements and was going to get placed.
I understand what you're saying. That record wouldn't have came out.
Mike, he was making that album, and somebody was going to pick it up and take it very far. It's just that he wanted to be with Jay. Yes,
they weren't. Kanye would tell you they weren't. The only person that was rocking with him was what's his name?
His greatness. It was going to happen.
Nah, man. Those. At the top, let's take ourselves.
I'm not giving Jay no credit.
Cool. Let's take ourselves back in time, right?
Kanye made Kanye's career happen. They did not help that nigga.
No, they might not have helped him make anything.
And when you something like that, Mike, just like when you make something like Reasonable Doubt and Def Jam came along, somebody gonna come along.
This different though. Cool.
No, what I'm saying. We're talking about a classic rap album.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Kanye was able to use the credibility and the momentum that Rockefeller had at the time. Just like how I feel about Eminem. There's nobody else that he would have been able to... No. There's nobody else he could have signed to other than Dre at the time. And that's not a knock on him or his skill set. There was just no match. So you telling me that Eminem would have been able to go somewhere else and do what he did without Dre?
Not to the level that he did.
Exactly.
But Eminem ain't the tour de force that Kanye is. Period.
Spiff Spark says what I'm saying. He said, not without Rockefeller's cosign. Let's go back. Let's go back to 2000. Let's go back to 2001 and 2002.
Mike, if you would have heard the college dropout and it didn't come out on Rockefeller Records, the results.
But I wouldn't have heard it. That's the point.
I'm tell you, Mike. Yes, you would have.
I wouldn't have. That shit. Exactly what King of Sin said. Kanye would have been on Raucous Records. And I agree with that 100%. Kanye would have got signed to Raucous, and we would have heard that shit like we heard a Reflection Eternal. No disrespect, but it wouldn't have been to the level that we ended up hearing it.
Mike, real talk. When Through the Wire came out, you didn't even know if he was really signed to Rockefeller like that. Stop playing.
He did know.
Not like that. Not until you seen it. That's what I'm saying, Mike. He made that whole album without their help. That project was about to drop. It was about to be great. They knew it was great, which is why they picked it up.
I feel you know what? No, I disagree with that statement.
That album was like, I don't believe he made this shit by himself. We got to get him before somebody else gets him.
I disagree with that. They signed him to keep getting his beats.
Somebody else major was going to pick him up and take him very, very far. I don't agree with any of y'all. That's crazy.
No, I think that they
fucking with the album, Mike. Y'all sound crazy. Y'all understand they wasn't fucking with the album till the album was done. He did it by himself.
He did it by himself. He had had the album done, and that's the other reason why I don't agree either. Because cool. You could tell that the college dropout had been done for years. A lot of those songs sound older. He had the access to shop those records. He even says on the album that people weren't fucking with Jesus Walks. He sat there and played Jesus Walks for these executives in 2002. And you have to think about where hip hop was in 2002. He didn't have the image. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have any street credibility. Every rapper that came out in that era had some level of credibility on a mainstream level like that. He changed the game, and the only people that were going to rock with him was Rockefeller because they wanted his beats. And it wasn't even because They believed in the music like that. They was like, well, shoot, if we give him a record deal, let him put out his stuff, we could keep getting his beats. He's even said this. So I don't think that there is a Kanye without Rockefeller Records being what it was. I don't. That's hard because nobody else is gonna put this stuff out. I think maybe Rockets would have put it out, but how many albums would that have lasted for though? Oh, Coop just timed out on me. They said, chill, Mike. You good? Your joint died out?
No, my laptop died arguing with y'all fools about this. All right?
I think this is a great conversation, though.
Y'all wild, man. Because now y'all discrediting Ye and what Ye's
No. Never that. I'm discrediting the game.
Discrediting the industry?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing? Yeah. Making it seem like you're doing that. That's really not what you're doing.
No. It's the
making
industry.
it seem like Ye shit ain't gonna pop without Rockefeller. That's what you're saying at the bottom line. You're saying Ye shit wasn't gonna pop without Rockefeller.
I think during that time period.
Understand what that sounds like out loud when you say it. And
No. We have to understand what phases of the game we're in, right? Like once upon a time, I was in a rap group, right? And we had like a different kind of sound than what was going on in the city of Atlanta. Nobody was rocking with it. But if it were 94, they may have been. You know what I'm saying? Like things were different. And during that time period where Kanye came out, everything was about something else. He was drastically different than what was going on the mainstream level in hip hop. And he was able to attach himself to Rockefeller Records, who were doing what other people were doing, and use that as a vehicle to push his stuff forward. That's all I'm saying. I think if Kanye was doing the College Dropout in 96, yeah, somebody would have signed him. Yes. But in 2002, no. I just don't. And that's all I'm saying. And that's not a knock to Kanye. It's just a timing thing.
I'm not going to keep arguing with y'all about this shit.
Well, I think that's a good place
I just don't agree. I just don't agree. I just fundamentally don't agree with that because for what I heard you say really when you're saying that is that, well, if Kanye is as influential as you say, and if he's great as you say, and as I say, and most definitely as he say, then he's going to make it regardless, Mike. And so I'm not going to give Rockefeller credit for somebody like that. Like, I don't give Puff no credit for Big. Big was going to get on.
I got to give Puff some credit for Big. And I'm going to have to disagree with you on the future.
I give him credit for making him as big as he became, but he was going to get on.
Big was super talented. He was going to get on, but I don't think...
Kind of like Kanye super talented?
No, of course. All of these guys are super talented.
So niggas
but
like I
don't think Biggie makes Juicy or One More Chance without Puff. I don't.
Oh, Biggie will tell you he's not making One More Chance.
Yeah. You froze up, Coop.
Get on. Okay. And that's really what I'm trying to stress. I'm not saying Rockefeller's not important. What I'm saying is you ain't going to miss them like you think. You might miss Siegel because Siegel might still be out in the streets, but Ye's still going to make it. And those were the two biggest Rockefeller signings, right?
I think Ye makes it as a producer, maybe not as much as an artist without Rockefeller Records. He used a lot of that Rockefeller momentum. And again, I do agree with what someone said in the chat.
They used a lot of his beats.
No, of course they did. I'm not taking it. Listen, if we want to keep it all the way 100, I don't want to sound like I'm discrediting anything that Kanye's ever done because I think that Kanye is probably more influential than Jay is. Right? I think over time.
Got me sticking up for Yeezy today.
I think over time, Kanye's impact might be greater than Jay's. I think Kanye is the first ballot Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Straight up.
No question.
No question. And that's going to happen too when this time is,
happening.
Yeah.
That's happening.
When the time is there. So that's happening. I think he's probably overall more important in the cultural shift in hip hop than Jay is. I think he's overall a better artist. I think he's probably the best artist that we've ever had. But
Mike,
he's so polarizing. I don't think anybody else was going to sign him outside of a Raucous Records. He was the one that was saying, look, he put Freeway on songs with Mos Def. You know, call him Kweli Aquele. I put him on songs with Jay-Z. He couldn't do that if he wasn't on Rockefeller. And that's just the truth. And that was a big part of his first, you know, splash and what made him so different when he came in the door. And he had the power to do that. He had the power to bridge those gaps because of Rockefeller.
Mike, the only power of Rockefeller that I really hear on his first album is the Jay verse from Never Let Me Down. Because
is that
Jay
all you hear? Is that all you hear?
As far as a Rockefeller influence, because it's like, okay, Jay actually gave him a whole verse, and it's a great verse on a great song. The rest of that album is on some rap shit for Mos Def and Common and guys like that. Anyway, it was still about the fly.
But it got the Rockefeller push in ways that, like you remember back then, those guys didn't get those kind of pushes. He got the Def Jam push.
Mike, but here's what I'm trying to stress to you. Rockefeller pushed it because there was no denying the records.
TJ says...
Mike, anybody with major push and pull in the game at that point in time, had they sat down and heard those records, would have done the same exact thing for Kanye that Rockefeller did. Rockefeller heard it first and did the right thing.
You would be surprised.
You don't get credit for doing what you're supposed to do. That's the College Dropout. Whoopty fucking whoop. You recognize that the College Dropout was a classic and did some push. You can put some proper push behind it. Thanks for doing your motherfucking job. That's about it.
Nobody else was gonna do it. TJ says Kanye helped Jay more than Jay helped Kanye.
Got that right.
I agree with that.
I'd like to thank Rockefeller for doing their job after Kanye finished the album.
I agree with that. But at the same time, I think Rockefeller set the foundation for Ye, or set the platform for Ye to do what he knew he could do. And once he did it, he took off.
Mike, they did their job, and they only did their job for one album, because everything after that, Ye pretty much put on his hands and took off anyway, even if their imprint was on it.
They did their job so they could get more beats from them.
Everybody else would have done the same thing. It's not that
Man,
special.
Everybody in here is kind of all over the place. A lot of people agree with you, and a lot of people agree with me.
Because it's the College Dropout, Mike, and they didn't have anything to do with it except pushing it, and they pushed it the way any other solvent and financially viable label with a decent hip-hop ear would have heard that album and pushed it.
I hear what you're saying.
Mike,
but from Kanye's mouth, you heard the album, right? You've heard the College Dropout.
Mike, what they have to do? Mike, what did they have to do with Slow Jams or All Falls Down or Jesus Walks or Get 'Em High? Those don't sound like Rockefeller songs now, do they?
Well, you still got to put money behind it. It is what it is.
Right. And what I'm trying to tell you is that when you hear records like that over the course of an album and you realize that the record's going to be classic, it's like, oh, Puff would have put money behind it. Russell would have put money behind it.
They heard this stuff.
Jay Prince, it was just going to be a matter of time.
They heard this stuff.
They were just there first. I'd like to thank you for coming to class and raising your hand when the right questions get asked.
Where I do disagree with you, so you're telling me you feel like if Jay Prince would have signed Kanye West and put out the College Dropout, it would have did exactly what it did on Rockefeller?
Mike, those records are organically great and epic. Period.
So him being with Rockefeller in the midst of their biggest run had nothing to do with the success of that album.
Mike, does it sound like some Rockefeller shit?
It doesn't matter whether it sounds like it.
Yeah, it
does. That company, it's the momentum.
Because you're attributing what was going on with Ye to their run. And what I'm trying to tell you is that, no, he's the one that added to and enhanced their run, not the other way around with that album. It's the best album ever released on Rockefeller, not named The Blueprint.
Look, Southern Playalistic doesn't sound anything like Crazy Sexy Cool or anything like that. But that album's success helped the success of that album. With it being on LaFace Records, it just does. Same thing with Soul Food and Southern Playalistic. Even though I think that's a better comparison. Soul Food sounds nothing like Southern Playalistic. But the fact that Southern Playalistic was there to catapult it helped.
So what album came out before the College Dropout off Rockefeller Records that helped catapult the College Dropout?
The Blueprint.
Right.
He made a name for himself by his work on the Blueprint. And I know, just for me personally, as a fan, just for me personally as a
so
fan.
You're telling me somebody that, hold on, so you're telling me, so I want you to understand how you and the people agreeing with you sound, because this is the point that I'm making. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
So you're telling me the person that had a hand in executive producing a masterpiece of an album called The Blueprint that is then making a masterpiece of an album called The College Dropout isn't about to get some run if it's not from Rockefeller? That's why I kept bringing up, no, he was getting placements. That was happening regardless.
He was getting placements.
Happening regardless.
But at that time...
Their job, Mike. They just did their job.
At that time, we weren't sold on him.
You wake up, you go to work. Your job as a music executive and the boss is to vet new artists. This new artist has been doing production for you, makes an album called The College Dropout. It's very clear that this album is a classic. You decide to support push the album. That's called doing your job.
So why didn't anybody else sign him when they heard Jesus Walk?
It was going to happen, Mike.
It was going to happen. According to Kanye, it wasn't. He had deals on the table, and they were gone.
Mike, so we're gonna trust everything that Kanye says now. Okay, that's what we're doing.
Well,
that's what we're doing.
So you don't believe what he said at the end of...
You don't hear me using no Kanye quotes. All right?
So you don't believe what he said at the end of Last Call on The College Dropout? You think he just made all that up?
I mean, Mike, you don't think Ye embellishes?
So you think he embellished the fact that nobody was trying to sign him?
Right. Yes, I do. Because part of his image and his legacy, he helped craft that by crafting the narrative of it, and that's part of it. Yes.
So I mean, we've all, especially. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that.
He's crafting the underdog narrative. Oh no, nobody want to fuck with me. No. You just got done helping produce the Blueprint.
I'm glad you said that. Cool.
And about to come fuck with you.
Cool. I'm glad you said that, because over time we've seen the guys who've been the big free agents, the 50 Cents with the bidding wars, the Drakes with their bidding wars. Kanye West already had his name in the game as a producer, and we didn't hear any bidding wars for him as an artist.
Because they wanted him as a producer, and he kept trying to tell them he was an artist, so he made a product, and a project.
And that's exactly why nobody was signing him. You're making his point. Because people saw him as a producer and not as an artist.
But Mike, we don't know if that moment would have ever happened, because when Rockefeller heard it, because they had access to it first, what did they do? Anybody else in their position would have done the same exact thing had they heard the record.
So you feel like they signed him right away?
I feel like they signed him after they started. I feel like probably about 10 to 12 tracks on the album was done. They was like, oh shit, yeah, that's exactly how I think it happened.
Man.
I feel like that album was about 70-75% in the can, and they listened to what they were hearing. They were like, we got to snatch this guy up for good before anybody else does.
That would be smart, but...
Right, and we're talking about Dame and Jay now, aren't we?
It sounds like Kanye was out here trying to get deals elsewhere, and nobody else was biting on it. And and this is the thing. In 2002, 2001, I could see, because he didn't look like a rapper. Let's just keep it real. Like, rappers had looks. He didn't look like a rapper. He didn't talk like a rapper, and especially a rapper in that camp. And so, yeah, I think it would have been a Raucous Records situation. I think that's the only label that would have taken a chance on Kanye at that time. There's no way of us knowing, but just based on the timing of it and being a music fan, who else out here was getting signed that had those type of Kanye sounds? Little Brother wasn't getting no deals from Epic Records and shit. They weren't.
Mike, he had just got done producing Izzo. He wasn't going to no damn Raucous. So sick of y'all saying that.
Split Spark says, Coop, nope. Kanye shopped that album to other labels. TJ says, Coop is right. He got a free range to be creative because he is his genius. I hear what y'all saying. But
it's gonna happen. That's all I'm saying. Saying it was gonna happen. I'm not trying to discount Rockefeller. I'm just saying they were there at the right place in the right time. They did what they were supposed to do. Once again, thank you for doing your job and putting Kanye West out. It's like, what are we talking about?
The world needed him.
Kanye West out. Okay.
The world needed him.
He just got done helping you produce one of the greatest rap albums of all time. He's out here making one of the greatest rap albums of all time. Like, you might want to do your job. I don't know, sign him to a deal.
Before we get out of here, though, I want to say, man, I've always thought this, but I was listening to 8 Ball and MJG on Top of the World or whatnot, and I think, man, MJG might be the most underrated Southern MC ever, possibly the most underrated MC ever. He's up there.
You like MJG more than 8 Ball?
I do.
Okay.
I think 8 Ball's proven as an individual to be, that he can carry his own. Even though I bought No More Glory, but stuff like Mr. Biggs and all that's undeniable. But it's something about MJG, man. I've always liked, man, and I think that when we talk about Southern MCs, his name as an individual doesn't come up when you can hear his style all over Memphis MCs.
I was about to say he's Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's nice with it too. Like his storytelling game is on point.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
Like
MJG storytelling game is hard.
Yeah. And I was thinking about our conversation, you know what I'm saying, a couple of weeks back when we were talking about UGK and 8 Ball MJG. I don't even know how I would place them if we talking about breaking down all 4 MCs. But you might be right, man. 8 Ball and MJG might be the better duo, I guess.
MC-wise.
But see, I just like the production from UGK, and I like the approach of UGK.
I'm about to say Bun and Pimp are a better fit. 8 Ball and MJG are the better MCs collectively, stylistically. Because if we were ranking them in order, I put Bun over all of them as MCs.
Would
Bun
you?
would be one.
And see, when I was listening to MJG, man, I'm like, you know what? I don't know, man. I might put MJG over Bun.
I can't do that. I can't do that in clear conscience.
I mean, I was listening to the song they did with Outkast, and I'm like, man, MJG could have the best verse.
What, Throw Your Hands?
Yeah.
No, he does have the best verse on Throw Your Hands. You're right.
I mean, Dre's verse is Dre. He lyrically took it there.
It's Dre in his prime, so he gives you what you expect. But MJG comes off best on that track.
Yeah.
You're right. But he's not better than Bun B as AMC.
Why would you say that? I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you because everybody in the chat seems to agree with you as well.
Similarities. I'm going to give Bun some points for vocals. Like vocally, I think he's better. And solo material.
Okay, solo material, that's fair.
Vocally and solo material, I find Bun to be better.
Let's just say it like this. If all 4 of those guys get on a record together, 8 Ball, MJG, UGK, Pimp C, kind of like on some, was it Meal Ticket? All 4 of those guys get on a record together. Who comes out with the best verse?
Bun.
I don't know about that. I don't.
Look, okay, so here's the beautiful thing about UGK, though, and this is why stylistically they fit so well together. It's like, when you listen to Big Pimpin', Bun's got the best verse on Big Pimpin', but the moment belongs to Pimp. What's the part everybody remember? Smoking out, throwing up. Right.
Yeah, Pimp C could have the best verse in any given moment.
Right. Without being lyrical.
Yeah, without being lyrical.
Without being lyrical at all. Did you see when Bun was doing the interview where he told the story about how Pimp was out in the Miami sun? Because they were in Miami like for that part of the shoot, and he came out with the mink on. It was like 95 degrees outside. and Jay looked at Pimp and was like, yo, fam, like, what you doing? Like, it's hot outside. And he looked at Jay and said, TV don't know no temperature. Pimp C, nigga.
And on that note, I guess we can get up out of here, man. I don't know what's coming out this Friday, but I'm sure we'll find something to talk about, definitely. I would love to dig deeper into that Kanye discussion. That's really interesting.
Mike, get out my head. You know I'm about to start digging sometime tonight.
Because I want to find out, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to get my facts and everything together outside of just, the verbiage you hear on Last Call. So,
yeah, the hearsay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we can get some... what was his name? Joey 3H? The one that was rocking with Kanye?
Actually, Mike, oh shit, you want to know what? I know somebody that was interning at Rockefeller around that time I can reach out to. He was interning at Def Jam. No, I'm not at Rockefeller. He was interning at Def Jam around that time.
Yeah,
I actually know somebody. Yeah, he was a producer. He interned at Def Jam around that time. I'll hit him up and find out.
All right, cool, man.
See if you know something.
Well, we will see y'all on Friday as well. And you know what we can do too, and I know we were speaking about this earlier in
Matter
the week.
Matter of fact, Mike, it's Holla's homeboy.
Okay.
Holla's homeboy, Dwayne. You know Dwayne?
I don't think I know Dwayne.
Dwayne from the 206 too, like Holla. I know Dwayne through Holla. Dwayne inside that Def Jam. Yeah, that's Holla's man.
We could probably start wrapping up this year and everything too, man. Let's start talking about that Friday.
Right.
Because I mean, we're at a point now where I mean, unless something major comes out this Friday, we need to start putting like, you know, some of the tops in this year in context. So
okay.
All right, man. Salute to y'all in the room. Appreciate all y'all participation. And yeah, tell your friends to subscribe to the According to Hip Hop YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so y'all know when we're going live. We're going to go live Friday, around 3 or something like that?
Depends on how things go at the Braves parade, Mike. Parade starts
at 10.
Yeah,
the Braves. All right. Well,
parade starts at 10.
We'll keep y'all posted.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted.
All right, definitely. Holla at you.